they have a lot of history here. And sure, the rosters have adjusted a little bit, even for both of these teams. In fact, one of the players who played, King George, he played for FlipSid in those 2 previous matchups we talked about. So, I mean, now he's on the other side of the field. So it is kind of a weird match going in here, but there is, again, there's a lot of history. So maybe this is going to be the third Clubhouse match between these 2 teams, and this is going to be the decider who's going to be the dominant team on Clubhouse. And we haven't been seeing a lot of this particular map. Teams, I think, are getting a little bit sick of it. So it is good to see it kind of refreshing. And again, like you said earlier, it's weird to say Clubhouse being refreshing.
A refreshing map to play, yes.
It's contrary to what you would think, having been playing this game for so long.
Yeah, and so I mean, with this map in particular, we talked about how King George used to be on FlipSid, now he's on Vertical. It seems like the information game, the mind game, might be in favor of King George and Vertical, knowing that, hey, FlipSid plays this map, we know their general tactics, where there might potentially be.
I'm going to be honest, FlipSid has made some huge adjustments from their hit. Like,
agreed.
Past FlipSid is nothing like the FlipSid of today. They have been playing better overall, but
when's the last time we saw a castle here on Clubhouse?
Yeah, that is kind of an odd pick coming out from FlipSid. I'm wondering. I'm curious to see how they're going to use it exactly.
Seems like they may have traded out the Jaeger for the castle, which...
Not sure that's the right decision, but obviously they have a plan. I'm guessing they're bringing the castle specifically for the impact grenades, because as you can see here, if you use those impact grenades, you can hit the table next to the drop in the kitchen and destroy any Hibana charges that get placed there. So that's obviously the goal with the castle, but rotating the Jaeger for the castle, I don't know if that's, again, I don't know if that's the right decision.
We will have to stay tuned and see. Already 1/3 of the round done as Adam's going to move on over to construction entrance. Looks like it's going to be a 4-person entrance here inside of the cave. You've got Eclipse leading the way. King George is on glass right behind him. 1 gas grenade is going to push off that push, or hold off the push for now. But Pojo Man is still very close by with a shotgun in hand.
This is a lot of aggression coming from VG straight into the construction tunnel. And now often you see a player from attack set himself up here, but never this many.
Ooh, and easy peasy's going to be exposed as King George moves forward to get the first kill of this map. Now you have right on the other side of the doorway is where Pojo sits. I don't know if he's got a pre-placed gas grenade waiting for King George to push in, but what's a little awkward is there's no C4 or no barbed wire to slow down that movement at all. So Adam now has gotten inside of the kitchen. He's moving down the central stairwell, looking for those castle barricades, which he's going to smack on open here. King George, again, still looking on through the cave entrance. Now, good thing about VG is they have managed to hide, I was going to say hide some of their attackers inside of the cave entrance, but looks like Hot and Cold is going to throw 1 nade down to take down take down Eclipse. King George is going to get a second kill into Zilchi, but then be taken up by Pojo Man as he moves on in towards the armory. Shotgun in hand, he's still going to hold on to that cave entrance. Avian still above inside of the kitchen hallway. Moving on over, he does have the drop hatches open in his favor. Adam, however, down at the bottom of the central stairs still. Moving on towards, I want to say he's going to push in towards the Moto. Avian and Snake are here as well. The remaining 3 attackers are all pushing from the front. Cave entrance is now not an option for them. FlipSid realizing that the push is going to come from the Moto. We're going to see Avian push forward here, going right up against Mint. Adam's trying to hold down the main corridor, but we're going to see Hot and Cold about to hop into the blue hallway. He's just waiting for the call out from Mint. But Mint right now is going to have to hold on to this. There's 15 seconds left to go. Mint now realizes the push is coming. He's about to go for the pre-fire. Avian's going to drop shot and actually get him down for the kill. But another kill here from Hot and Cold will take down Avian. And Adam's going to get Mint. A 2-on-2 at the moment with 1 second left to go. The plant will go down inside the dark corner. Hot and Cold's going to expose himself, but he gets the shot, and that's Pojo. He's going to get a double shot here on the Snake and Adam. Round number 1 is going to go to FlipSid.
That was an interesting way to handle that from VG. What they did is they forced their way through the construction tunnel to get the FlipSid roster focused on that. And then as soon as they had that pressure established, because they could not get the kitchen drop open, they opted to instead just adjust all the way over to Moto and try and push their way through Moto together as a team. But unfortunately, they kind of stumbled over each other there. Just a little bit unorganized, and as such, they got picked off in a nice little crossfire. having the Valkyrie in blue.
The 3 inside a cave confused me a bit. It did seem a little too congested.
Well, the whole round seemed a little bit congested from Vertical's side. I mean, you saw the 3 in cave, and then you saw the 3 pushing through Moto all together in the same exact direction, right on top of each other. You gotta feel that if one of those players had waited in Moto and kept his eyes on the blue hallway, they probably would have been able to get that pick onto Valkyrie and maybe given the round to them. But it seemed like a little bit of a miscommunication, and as such, the first round did go to FlipSid. Now we're going to be seeing Vertical Gaming now defending their basement.
Yeah, and again, the basement is the hands-down preferred bomb site on this map.
Absolutely.
You will have some teams that try to start in bar and stock. Not many. It has happened once or twice before.
Once or twice. Definitely never 3 times.
Yeah, definitely never 3 times. But again, this downstairs basement hold is one that has many different avenues of attack. You have the cave entrance, the garage entrance, the main stairwell, Moto, kitchen drop. There's lots of different ways to attack this site.
And it all comes down to gauging where you're being attacked as the defenders and gauging where the defenders are as the attackers. As you saw, when VG, they forced all of the FlipSid defenders into Armory, they had them cut off. They had Snake playing the hallway, and it was all down to the Bandit in the church, all alone against 3 players. And because of that, if they had been able to maintain that, they would have been able to give themselves the round. But unfortunately, like I said earlier, I mean, they just kind of, they got a little congested, like you were saying, and they pushed themselves in too much all at once.
Now we are having a little bit of a different operator selection choice here from Vertical Gaming, with Snake Nade being on Mira, and Eclipse is going to be on top of Pulse. Again, no Jaeger, which it's good. I like seeing the change in operator choices here and not being guaranteed, okay, we always need to have a Jaeger. I like the variety that we're seeing teams use here.
We're also seeing on the attacking side, Mint playing that Montaigne. We haven't been seeing as much of him as we, well, saw prior, and by prior I mean in the Invitational. However, he is making an appearance here.
Now easy peasy lemon squeezy is going to be inside of the kitchen hallway, and the C4 from underneath Eclipse gets a successful blowing up of easy peasy there. Now still got a minute and a half left, but it looks like Hot and Cold will push on down the main stairwell as he takes out Snake Nade, trying to even out man count into a 4-4. Now that mirror window on the left side of the hallway will get opened up by the Ash Charge. That's going to allow a good avenue for Mint to move forward. They're going to smoke it out first, and you're going to see Mint actually head on over to Moto, it appears, and possibly lock out the doorway. Pojo Man's going to continue droning here. We've got, I want to say, Eclipse is inside of, he is inside of Armory as well as Adam. Now we see Hot and Cold moving on forward, but he gets taken out by Adam with a drop shot behind the lockers. It's a 3-on-4 at the moment. We've got Glaz moving on down the main hall. He spotted Adam. He's going to go for the shots here momentarily. He spots him, and he gets the shot. Another one, but he hits him, and finally down to Clips. He will finish him off there. The body going pop up into the sky. There are 1 defenders left. It looks like it's going to be Avian. Tucked around in the corner of Arsenal Room. Diffuser gets planted. He's going to go for the shots onto Zilchi, but he will not land it. Zilchi hitting him once, hit another shot, and that will be Avian falling to Zilchi. That's FlipSid taking round number 2, 2-0.
Good job to Zilchi to clean that up for his team. It came down to a straight fight, but Zilchi with the Glaz and the smokes to his advantage just made it work for him. Interesting reinforcement job done by VG there on the basement. They chose not to reinforce the farthest forward armory wall to the stairs, instead only putting a mirror on that. And because of that, the Ash was able to open it up basically for free and open that strat for FlipSid to just be able to walk through the hallway straight into the site with their Montaigne. I mean, there wasn't a lot that could have been done by Vertical Gaming to stop that. I feel like what could have been done to stop that would have been to reinforce that armory wall, but
they reinforced the one that the mirror wasn't on,
yeah,
which was a little questionable.
Maybe it might have been a bit of a miscommunication. Maybe somebody forgot to reinforce the wall, and the mirror was just like, okay, I need to put my window down so I can move on with my life. And I'd like to hope that in going into the next basement defense, we're probably not going to be seeing that wall unreinforced, because FlipSid may have had an entirely different strategy set up for that round, but because that wall wasn't reinforced, they were able to just put an Ash Charge here and walk on into the site, and there you go, this is the round.
Yep. And now we will be seeing a Blackbeard making an appearance here. That's Eclipse playing him.
Also a Fuse on, which is not a common appearance on this particular map in in general.
Not on this map in general, but it is viable here on this particular bomb site, especially if you're going for that bar or even the stockroom push, because both have exposable floors or destructible floors.
Yeah, and we're likely to see a stock push even though we don't have a Montaigne, because everyone is spawned over on the stock side of the building. We're going to likely also see Snake Nade and Adam push their way into cache to establish dominance upstairs and use those fuse charges to get preemptively placing that C4.
He's waiting for it. He's just going to go right here. Just needs to blow it right now. Oh, this is not going to work out. He actually gets exposed, but King George, he blows up the C4, but King George pushes on in, and that will be Mint falling. That's now Valkyrie taken out of stock room.
That is an unfortunate lack of a detonation of a C4 if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, the fuse charge might have actually destroyed that C4. I mean, it didn't, but it was very close to being where King George or where Mint had placed it. Now you've got Pojo Man and Easy Peasy right below the little podium, going right by the stage. They're just waiting right now. They know that Glaz has a line of sight on him. Eclipse is actually trying to wallbang. He hits Easy Peasy so much, but he doesn't know it just yet. He didn't actually see him. He just thought, let's shoot through the floor, and he managed to get a lot of shots down. C4 gets thrown out by Zilchi, but will not cause too much damage as Eclipse takes him down. A 3-on-5 at the moment. Still some very good, important Valkyrie cams, but is it going to be enough? You've got Hot and Cold who's able to rotate on over. Window's been open. He gets on through without being detected. This could be a wondrous flank that Hot and Cold has going on for him. Easy Peasy and Pojo just need to maintain control for the time being. Hold them off for about another 45 seconds so Hot and Cold has time to get behind the attackers.
He can't give himself away. One unnecessary noise, and the attackers will know he's here, and he'll die almost instantly. But if he gets this flank off successfully, he could win the round for his team.
Definitely, and he's going to come up behind Snake Nade. He just needs to wait. Don't shoot him yet. He does. Oh, he actually doesn't see him. He gets one. He doesn't see Snake right beneath him, but he finally looks over and gets it. That's a double kill flank. Tremendous job. Now King George is inside of the little stock closet. Pojo Man's going to get eclipsed, and the last one's going to be Hot and Cold. This is that threesome flank that needed to happen. FlipSid taking it 3-0 right now.
That was a great flank by Hot and Cold, but are we still doing situational awareness?
I thought, like, to me, that was a brilliant move. Because I thought that it was intentional, but I don't think it was.
At first it looked intentional, but he obviously did not see Snake Nade. It ended up not mattering in the end. Snake Nade was one of the drones, not paying enough attention. But that was a great flank from Hot and Cold, locking that out for his team. Unfortunately, it's down to that Buck leaving that upstairs hold for the flank, not being ready for the Jaeger to come from behind. And that is pretty much why that team, because everything else about that, the strategy, the picks, it was all in Vertical's favor. But that Hot and Cold flank locked it out for his team.
It was a very well played flank. I mean, like you said, one little small move, one little incorrect sound cue, he would have been dead. He would have been spotted. It would have gone very poorly for FlipSid.
And now we're seeing Vertical Gaming defending the basement, and there it is, the reinforcement onto the armory wall. They're not going to have that problem of an Ash opening that wall up again. They will be able to defend this in a more strategic manner, and we'll have to see what FlipSid is going to be doing.
King George with a favorite operator of attack Fuse and defender Valkyrie.
That is an interesting favorite attack operator, if I may
I like it.
So.
I like it.
We've actually seen that from a number of different players. I can't. It was Senses. Senses was the other player who favored Fuse the most on his attack. So it is kind of odd that there are players out there who are favoring Fuse so much, but he does find use, especially on a map like this, on a map like Chalet. He's actually extremely useful.
I do want to say, though, that on that previous attack round where Vertical placed the fuse charge inside a cache room to drop it down onto the Valkyrie, that was Mint. I do like how they did use Fuse effectively. It wasn't just to get the kill, it was to push Mint out. And then you had King George there to receive that movement.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. That was the right way to use Fuse, and we don't see a whole lot of teams use him in that manner. It's kind of unfortunate that they did not win that round, because as you say that, I mean, it's like that strategy, again, it was all in their favor. They did everything right. It just came down to one little flank. That Claymore could have stopped, for example.
And they have reinforced the correct wall this time and placed the mirror on it, so they've actually double reinforced that wall now. It looks like they've decided, we can take one of our reinforcements.
I wholeheartedly think that it was an accident that they didn't get that reinforcement down, and I think the mirror maybe just jumped the gun a little bit to get that reinforcement early.
Yeah.
Or to get her mirror down early so she could do her other setup.
You just have that prep mentality of, okay, this needs to go there, but a good C4 from Eclipse will take down Hibana. I don't even know if the drop hatch has been successfully opened. Oh, it has. The kitchen one has been opened. I don't quite know about the others just yet, but there's a shotgun from Buck that's going to do a little bit of damage to Eclipse and force the defenders into the back of Locker.
It doesn't look like the drop down has actually been opened, just
it hasn't.
The floor underneath
You're right.
An explosive will destroy the floor underneath the drop down without actually opening up the drop down. Now, from the defenders.
Glaz does have a good angle, but he is severely exposed on top of that drop hatch, so he does need to be very cautious.
So we saw from FlipSid, the way they handled it last time was they opened up the armory wall and they pushed their way into armory, but now that is not possible, and they have to analyze different avenues of attack, and it looks like they're going to be going straight through Moto. But the smoke is ready to stop that push, and Montaigne now having to question his line of action.
Yeah, he's got 2 or 3, there's only 1 or 2 gas grenades left from the hands of smoke, and we'll have to see.
I think it's just 1.
That was the last one. You're right. So it looks like easy peasy, though, using the buck charge to get a headshot onto King George. A 4-on-4 at the moment, 30 seconds left. Snake Nade gets spotted.
Zilchi knows.
Right there. Zilchi knows he's right there. And now Eclipse might be able to get this off. He's tucked around here. There's not a big opening in the wall. However, Zilchi knows it's going to happen. Zilchi knows. He saw him, but he doesn't. He unscopes in time, and Eclipse is going to get a double shot. Taking out Zilchi and Hot and Cold. With 10 seconds left to go, you've got Mitten, who's got Diffuser, but he gets taken out. Easy peasy is the last one alive. He's got to come in through Moto. Eclipse is there, and it will not go into the round.
Easy.
Easy gets 1, but unfortunately it will not go in favor, and FlipSid will lose their first round here. It is now 3-1.
That was fantastic work from FlipSid, trying to open that round up for them, but they just did not have enough options going into that attack.
Yeah, and so with that, we are moving on to round 5. Still looking like it might be FlipSid's game, and it's still anyone's.
Yeah, no, I think the problem with that last round on attack was we're all pushing through Moto. That's it. That's all that's going on in this attack. Obviously, they're trying to use the smokes to give their Glaz the advantage, and it somewhat worked. But when all the defenders have to focus on is one little doorway, it's pretty easy for them to handle that.
Now we are going to see FlipSid looking like they're going to choose the same set of operators they did previously. It worked out for them. But again, it also looked like it was a little bit of congestion by Vertical Gaming on round 1.
We're seeing the castle coming out from FlipSid again, obviously to use those impact grenades to deny the kitchen drop down to the attackers. And it could work for them, but there is a thermite on the attacking lineup here. Probably going to be using that thermite charge to get themselves into construction, but because they have that thermite charge, what that means is they have 5 breaching capabilities for reinforced walls. And there's only 2 impact grenades on the defensive team as it stands, because Easy Peasy has used his impact grenades for rotation holes.
Yep, so you got 2.
Because of that, there's the 2 impact grenades that can deny 2 charges onto the kitchen drop, but then they still have enough to open up the construction tunnel and all 3 drops.
There's also the potential, it depends if Pojo has impact grenades or if he's got barbed wire. Rook almost always carries
I saw him putting
impacts.
down barbed wire earlier.
Okay.
So yeah, there's another barbed wire from Pojo Man. So yeah, anyway, the impact grenades are only down to 2 from Castle, and they should be able to get the kitchen drop down open mathematically no matter what. But now we are seeing, again, we do have that fuse coming on Snake Nade, and even a buck from Adam. That's going to give them so much breachability going into this kitchen. But there's also no pulse on the defensive team, which means no counter C4 for that.
Oh, a nice shot by King George. That looks like it was from the cave entrance yet again. Zilchi's just not having a good time.
I think that is the second. That's all the impact grenades gone now for the defensive team, so they should be able to get the drop down in kitchen open no matter what. And that's the second time that Glaz has been able to walk in through this construction tunnel and just get a free pick.
Now, Pojo Man is here right on the side of the door. Snake Nade knows it. That's where he played last time. That's where Snake fell last time. I'm sorry, not Snake. You've got King George.
That was unfortunate.
A little bit of a butt touch there by Eclipse onto Snake Nade as he moves on forward to lay down his second cluster charge.
He's trying to force the players in Armory into the sights of King George, and it's not quite working for them.
Now looking here at Easy Peasy, he is holding on to that cave entrance. Eclipse is going to be above. He's just about to spot Pojo Man, but he's going to turn away instead. Pojo still looking around. You've got a cluster charge. I believe the last one has been planted. Now, will he call it in? There it goes, and unfortunately it will not tag anybody just yet. Still, 1:10 left to go. A 5-on-4. Pojo Man's going to get droned out and destroy the drone. But what's going to happen with his drop hatch here? You still have Eclipse up there. King George going to get a second kill, but as he moves on forward yet again, Hot and Cold will take him down. But Eclipse will counter with his own kill and a Pojo Man, a 2-on-4. And now you've got the last 2 defenders down on site. One inside of Church, one inside of Armory. Mint's got to hold down the Church as Hot and Cold is here right behind the ammo crates, waiting for a drop down. He's looking for the shot. He actually gets Snake Nade. A very good shot. Flashbangs go down, but don't actually blind him. And now Eclipse is trying to figure out, how do I get down here without dying? Adam down at the bottom of the main stairwell, waiting for a cross. Now, right now, his job is not to do too much pushing. It's merely just to hold out across from Church over into the Arsenal room. Hot and Cold still behind this ammo crate. He gets droned out. Avian knows he's there. Eclipse is going to have to fall and most likely go prone immediately to go for this plant. There's 15 seconds. It looks like he drops. Both are going to drop. Hot and Cold misses him, and he will be taken out by Avian. Last man alive is going to be Mint on the defensive team. He's here inside of the Church, looking right towards the diffuser, right towards Thermite, who's got the plant down. He moves on forward. Eclipse peeks his head around the corner and will get that shot onto Mint.
An excellent round from Vertical Gaming. You saw what they were trying to do there with the fuse charges and King George in that tunnel. As they fuse charge, King George is just ready for the defenders to try and rotate to the back end of Armory, and King George cutting that off completely. Although it didn't necessarily work for them, it did open up the back of Armory in the end game, having Buck open up the floor to allow for those picks.
Yep. I think what's smart with King George's play inside of that cave entrance, when he got down to the portion of the cave that connects with the Armory, a lot of people would say, oh, hey, castle wall, let me shoot it and break it open. But that actually helped Glaz, so he didn't need to worry about someone peeking from blue too much.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely to his advantage. A lot of the time, one of the reasons why people don't consider castle to be extremely viable as in say, ranked play, for example, is because he can be to the detriment of your team if used improperly. And that wasn't necessarily an improper use of Castle in that instance. It just was counter to the defensive play, given the way the attackers were handling those rounds. Here are King George's statistics, again, I guess, and we are seeing, again, he does really favor that Fuse and Valkyrie.
And it looks as though VG will be holding on to the garage this time. One of the holds that we don't see too much of.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting way to handle this particular bomb site. The reason we don't see it a lot is it overexposes you as a defender. And by that I mean it's a lot of ground to hold. It doesn't look like they're actually going to be playing anyone in there. I think they were just using a little bit of their extra reinforcements on the walls maybe to, I don't know, force the attackers to open up a different wall.
Pojo Man will have his drone in there to make sure it's all clear. Eclipse is actually going to go out for an aggressive peek. He gets spotted and decides to run back on site. Now, there is a lot of barbed wire that's helping to slow down any kind of push that happens, plus those 2 ADSs on the side of the wall. There's no Thatcher to easily take them out, so it's going to have to be something from above. Could be easy peasy if he gets up there in time. But right now, it does look like Stockroom might not be the best option here for FlipSid.
FlipSid is taking this nice and slow, and interestingly, their Montaigne is pushing into Garage, not setting themselves up, like you said, not setting themselves up for a stock take. Avian going to get picked off by Hot and Cold, giving the attackers the man advantage here.
Now, that was a very good use of Ash, basically, trying to make sure she can get around and get that flank covered. What she's now controlling is that main lobby. So if they can get into Stockroom, which it looks like Mint is still pushing onto the lobby, possibly onto Eclipse here shortly, they will have total control of any kind of rotation.
So what's happening here is, like you said, Ash is, well, you pretty much said it. FlipSid is setting themselves up finally to win another round and put themselves onto map point. It's not over yet for Vertical Gaming, but it's looking grim. Montaigne is upstairs challenging the Valkyrie, and she goes down.
And so the last man to actually be on that Stockroom hold in order to stop a push from, or stop the plan from going on, is going to be Eclipse, but he's going to have to evacuate. He goes down through the drop hatch, and he's actually being seen by Easy Peasy and gets taken out. Now it's all up to Eclipse and Adam. Eclipse is going to fall on forward, and it looks like Adam's going to get one on the hot and cold, but still, man count is in favor of FlipSid. Zilchi will be also taken up by Adam. A very nice shot, but you've got Mint, who's pushing in full shield and diffuser in hand. Eclipse is tucked around in the corner here inside of the armory, or inside of the lobby, but it looks like Mint wants to go for it. Pojo Man gets a double kill here, taking down Adam and Eclipse.
An unfortunate lineup from Vertical Gaming to lock out the round for FlipSid. Great job from Pojo Man. That was some wonderful Montaigne play, and not what you really expect to see on a stock take. The way that FlipSid handled that particular attack was, instead of trying to force their way in through the bomb site, which is what we'll often see and just plant behind a Montaigne, instead of that, they pivoted around that point of contention and just killed all of the defenders who were in positions to stop that Montaigne plan. And at that point, there was no reason to plant. It was 2 versus 4. I mean, why bother?
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways that a defense a defense strategy works on that particular bomb site, if you were to plant in Stockroom, is you have a good collapse. Your defense is in a position to collapse successfully. And as you said, what FlipSid did there, they picked off that collapsing strategy, those collapsing positions, one by one. You saw Monty go upstairs and pick off Valkyrie.
You could think of the collapse as like a C. And what's happening is when they push into plant behind the Montaigne, they're entering into that C, and they're just getting surrounded now and collapsed on, like you said.
Yep.
And the way that FlipSid handled it is they, instead of going straight in and getting trapped, they just kind of pivoted around it and, you know, poked holes into it until it was all over. And now we're going to be seeing FlipSid defending the basement, and this is the advantage FlipSid in this instance. I feel like it is obviously the favored side from both of these teams, or from pretty much anyone on Clubhouse. And now Vertical Gaming is in a predicament here. They have to win a basement attack, which they've done. They have successfully won this basement attack, but it was close.
It was, and I feel like FlipSid, though, this being the preferred bomb site for defenders, this being FlipSid that is the ones defending, I feel like FlipSid is able to adapt to the mistakes they made previously.
We'll see if Easy Peasy gets picked off by King George in this tunnel yet again. They do have a Pojo Man ready to receive King George this time, and it's likely that he's probably going to stay in this tunnel for a long time, because obviously the round they lost on this particular defense was because King George was so freely allowed access to Construction Tunnel.
Now there's going to be another gas grenade coming out. That's 2 from Pojo Man. King George is actually going to move forward and go for the shots, but he actually gets finished off. A nice shot by Pojo. He takes him down, going to use that last gas grenade to back on out of the cave. He's done his job, and it looks like it was very successful. So now Pojo Man puts on one last barbed wire, calls it quits, and backs onto safety.
Now that's a lot of power out of the hands of Vertical Gaming, and a lot of the impact grenades, as we were talking about earlier, going to take care of the Hibana charge on the kitchen trough, forcing her to use another charge.
And the C4 actually stopped the fuse charge, but the one snuck on out of there, landed right at the feet of Hot and Cold, and that took him out. Pojo Man's going to get a second shotgun kill, though, onto Eclipse, taking out the Thermite.
Everywhere else, the attack is going in the favor of Vertical Gaming, but in the Construction Tunnel, Pojo Man is forcing it out for his team, saying, no, we're winning this round. I don't care. You can't have it.
So here we are, just over 1/3 of the round left to go. You've got Snake Nade wondering, should we do a quick drop? I don't know.
Looks like we do have a Hibana bug, and that is to the detriment of Vertical Gaming. That's going to cause a stall in their strategy, and not many options for them as a team, so they're going to call for a rehost. Yeah,
and unfortunately, that is going to be it's going to be unfortunate, obviously, because what you saw there was both, as you said, it was going in favor of Vertical Gaming except for the cave entrance.
Yeah, it was Pojo Man pretty much winning that round in the early game, that is, for his team.
Yep.
So, Vertical Gaming did trade it back onto the Valkyrie, you know, playing it through the kitchen, and they could have easily salvaged that round. But unfortunately, the Hibana bug, again, on that drop down, that's pretty detrimental to the entire attack strat. That's just cutting the head off the entire attack.
Yeah, because, I mean, the Moto drop is very key because it is a place that allows the team, that allows the attackers to basically take control of that front hallway. And if you don't have control of that, you either have to push in through cave, through blue tunnel, which they already have locked down. There was no effort from the attackers put on that. Or you have to come down the main stairwell, which, again, is very commonly peaked, very commonly protected by the defenders.
Yeah. So you are going to be trying to put together the match again. We just have to wait for the players to rejoin the lobby, and then we'll get right back into that.
We do, but let's talk about the downstairs hold. We saw FlipSid this is their third attempt downstairs. They won their first attempt. They lost their second. We saw a bit of a change on the way they held construction. We saw Easy Peasy. Was it Pojo Man. You're right. Pojo Man on smoke. And first round, Glass didn't really know what to do. He got one kill onto Easy Peasy right behind the lockers, but then Pojo Man came around and finished him off. Second time around, King George knew what to do, and he finished him off. This time, he wasn't expecting Pojo to be that close. And when he did, he pushed forward and Pojo just got a blind shotgun.
It wasn't that he wasn't expecting Pojo Man to be that close. He knew that he was that close. He saw the smoke charges obviously coming out from Pojo Man. His team was droning him down. What happened is because he tried to push his way through the smoke grenade, he got down by the shotgun and then ultimately killed by the smoke grenade. But if it had been that he didn't push into the smoke, he could have easily won that engagement. At that range, the Glaz sniper rifle is just as detrimental as a shotgun.
It is.
So it really came down to who hit the shot first, and Pojo just happened to hit the shot first. He played it well. He had that smoke down, and because of that, there was no trade back by the thermite.
Yeah, it was one of those perfect timings where it's like, I don't think Pojo could see through his smoke or through his gas grenade. It was just okay, this feels like the right time to shoot, and ultimately he got it.
I think he saw the glass.
Oh, okay.
I do think he saw the glass. I mean, when you have a yellow smoke onto a gray smoke, it kind of outlines players a little bit. It makes it easier to see. But who knows? Who knows? He got the kill. That's what matters.
Yeah.
He put his team in the advantage in that early game.
So what's going to happen here with this rehost is it's going to be the same bomb site, same operators. That's the rule with this rehost. And so having both teams know what the operators are going to be, do you expect to see any kind of different setup?
Well, both of these teams did know what the operators were going to be. I think maybe we might see something different from the attacking team because now they know they have to deal with that Pojo Man sitting in the tunnel. But I don't know altogether. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see a Montaigne or a Blackbeard trying to handle that Pojo Man.
Yep. Yeah, and so we are ready to get underway here. Briefly though, with this being it's 4-2 right now, if I remember correctly, right? I think it's 4-2. So I think it's match point here for FlipSid. Should they be able to hold on to the defensive site?
Yeah, it is match point if they win this round.
Yeah. So if they win this one, we'll be going on to not Chile, on to, why am I drawing a blank on the second map? Oregon. Oregon's going to be the second map. Predictions for that, or what do you see from that?
It's a very dynamic map. Both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think on a less strat heavy map, I think VG will have a little bit of an upper hand. FlipSid has always been a very strategically based team.
Yep.
I mean, even though they've made adaptations and they've changed a lot as a team, they're still strategy heavy.
They are,
and I think VG is going to be favored a little bit more on that map.
On Oregon,
but. I don't know why I was talking about operator changes when they can't. I don't think they could change operators. But we do have all the players now. We should be getting into the match soon. We're waiting for an admin decision on that last round because there were some kills established, and we're just trying to figure out what exactly is going to be happening going into the round. It might be that one thing happens or another thing happens. We'll find out. Yeah,
so when the rehost was called, when the rehost happened, there were 2 kills from FlipSid onto Vertical Gaming, and there's only one member of FlipSid that had been killed. So it was basically a 3-4. I don't know. Like we said, we're waiting for the admins to make a call as to whether or not it goes back to that scenario.
Yeah, it's,
we'll have to see.
Yeah,
but let's talk about the attack push, because from Vertical Gaming's point of view, when they pushed first, they tried pushing in through cave, was unsuccessful. They ended up being very cluttered at the
Well, they're not trying to push in through cave. I mean, they're trying to take control of cave so that they can deny a position for the defenders. Their whole strategy is put King George in tunnel, have him be able to see through the doorway from tunnel, fuse the back of armory, force the defenders into a sandwich, have the drop down open already at that point, and then when they're in that sandwich, pick them off from the drop down. Because if you have a King George looking through the construction tunnel, and then you have the fuses coming into the back of armory, then the defenders who are playing in the back of armory have one of 2 options. They can either rotate through the hole that they've made in the hallway, putting themselves out of a position to hold the site itself, or they can run into King George and die, or they can, well, I guess 3 options, stay in the fuse and die. So the only option is to leave the site at that point. And unfortunately, King George getting picked off by Pojo Man kind of made them force themselves to. Well, they were forced to reevaluate their strategy, which is why they started going for Moto. They were going to try and adjust, hoping that I'm assuming they were hoping that there would be enough of FlipSid focused on Armory at that point that they could then simply push in through Moto without any trouble at all, which is something we've seen them do before. But
what do you think is the logic or the reasoning behind many teams not trying to push blue often? We see a lot of just place a Claymore at the ladder and forget about it.
I guess you could say there's 3 ways, 3 fronts to handle this particular bomb site, this basement bomb site. There's the kitchen construction, there's blue garage area, and then there's church wall, stairs, and moto drop. Those are the 3 fronts. And typically teams will pick 2. Blue is probably the most difficult. You've got the stock drop to assist you, but there's so many things you have to do to get yourself through that hallway, and oftentimes there'll be a lot of barbed wire, and it's just kind of, it's a death trap, really.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like, I feel like a lot of teams, the reason they're not going for it is because it is a bit of a death trap. With construction tunnel, you've got a wavy tunnel that you can play off corners with, that you can use to your advantage, even though it can be used against you.
Yeah.
It's still, you know, it's anybody's
still something,
game at that point. And then construction tunnel is just it's just a hallway, and there are pixel spots you can use as a defensive team. You can see through a little crack in the engine that. Or the boiler, I guess, whatever you want to call it. That the
what are we? Are we on yacht now? No.
The attackers cannot challenge that at all, and you know, there's, I don't know. It's just not. It's not something that a lot.
Yeah,
of
now that you mentioned that, you are kind of very exposed as a defender, or as an attacker coming down that hallway.
Another thing is you're only coming into blue if you're going to be challenging Church, in my opinion. If you're going to be challenging Armory, which is what we've seen these teams doing, there's no reason. I mean, you could go blue, and it could give you a good sandwich on the players in blue, but it's almost unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, better to do what Vertical Gaming's been doing. I like what they were doing. Their strategy on this attack is good. It's sound. It's just if King George fails in the construction tunnel, or say the fuse gets picked off early, then it all kind of falls apart. And they do have a good default. They've been trying to push their way into Moto, and it kind of almost worked for them one time. The second time we didn't get to see it, but I don't know. They just kind of tripped over themselves the first time.
Yeah, it seems like they had a little hurdle their first time around, but they've come back. They've realized, okay, we can change this up. We know how to keep Pojo at bay. We know how to bait out his grenades so that we can then continue on with our push.
Right.
And it seems to be working out for them.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to make any major adjustments to their attack strat, because it does seem like FlipSid is figuring out exactly where Vertical Game is coming from. I mean, pushing that Pojo Man into the tunnel was, as we all saw, detrimental to the Vertical Gaming attack. And how is Vertical going to counter that? How are they going to handle that?
So on the flip side of this, let's say that I say on the flip side of this, if FlipSid does not get this defensive hold, if Vertical Gaming is able to take them on that basement site, then Vertical Gaming is going to be on defense. They're going to be defending onto the basement. Do you think we're going to see the same kind of defensive hold with the Mira, with the Pulse that we saw the first round that Vertical Gaming had played and they lost?
Maybe. It's hard to say. It's hard to predict, to be honest with you. Maybe we're going to see Vertical Gaming go for a whole, hardcore roaming setup to try and throw FlipSid off. Who knows, really? It is tough to call. I don't know. By the way, if you guys are wondering right now, the reason that we're still waiting for the match to start up, it is down. We're waiting for the admin's decision. This is a very significant call that the admin's going to be making. If you really think about it, FlipSid, they were a man up in that situation. It was match point. They were on basement defense, and
there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, it could be that based upon the decision, we could see like just straight move to the next map. So like they have to take a lot of factors into account, like you said.
Yep.
And so we beg your patience.
Yeah. So we are just making sure the admins are double checking the rule book, getting sides, watching the replays from as much as we've got access to
make the most educated decision possible.
Yeah, and so. I mean, like you said, this could be the deciding factor even for FlipSid.
It was in FlipSid's favor, and we were on match point. So, but on the note of, again, we will be seeing FlipSid likely defending basement. How is VG going to handle that? Are they going to try and force their way through the construction tunnel again? Are they going to try and come up through and go through Moto and Blue instead? Are they going to throw a total mix-up? What is their plan?
So to me, one of the things that I would like to see, seeing as how they have been having trouble and a lot of time has been has been spent dealing with Pojo Man and that gas grenade. What I would like to see is possibly someone push on down through Blue, because I think they only have one person playing in Blue. And
they have rotation holes from Armory and
they do.
Church. So the thing about Blue is, again, he's so easily converged on from any of the defenders.
So what I'm thinking is if they can somehow manage to get into Blue, they can then force Pojo away from the corner of that door and allow King George to move in and get a better angle. But as you had mentioned, all he's doing is just waiting for people to move across when they escape from the fuse charge.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tricky situation. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. It's possible that they'll go with a main floor Church push like they used to back in Season 2. But
that was a long time ago.
long time ago,
we'll
many operators ago.
It's been a long time since the team has thrown the strat of just opening up Church wall and trying to get a push in through there. I remember when that worked like clockwork. No one knew how to counter it. It was all this chaotic thing. And then people were like, "Oh, we could bandit the Church wall."
Yeah.
Oh man, the old days when strategy was just coming into fruition. I don't want to reminisce though.
Oh, why not?
I'm trying to find more things to talk about this match. But
no, so we've got one of the things like you said, one of the things when Vertical Gaming first did their defensive hold. It was we feel like it was a mistake that they missed that side wall. The second time around, they reinforced that side wall. What I haven't.
I feel like it was just bad timing on their part.
No, I'm thinking on FlipSid though. FlipSid, I don't know off the top of my eyes or top of my head if I remember seeing that wall getting reinforced. And if they do reinforce that,
do
reinforce that. Then what we've seen previously, I think it was Season 3 of the 6th Invitational, we saw Amontian actually push on forward and allow Thermate to open up that side and help flush out people.
Yeah, we actually haven't seen that since. That's not a very commonly used strat. It is somewhat risky, but I do like it. It is a good idea, and maybe that's the mix-up that VG's going to need. But we do need to go to a 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about this, guys. I do beg your patience, please, for this. It's a very delicate matter. The decision is pretty monstrous.
Yeah, and so we will be right back after a little break here. Let's the admins double check, make sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. And so, guys, stick with us tight. We'll be back in just a few short moments. Welcome back, everybody, and we still have a little bit of time to go because we have the admins reviewing and confirming exactly what's going to be.
More talking.
Just a little bit, not
Yeah.
too much. But seeing as how we might be near the end of Clubhouse, let's move forward onto Oregon.
Oregon predictions, huh? Again, as I talked about earlier, I feel like it is a slightly less, I say less strat-heavy map. It is a very strat-heavy map, but it's one of the ones that you can play very dynamically. And I feel like that might favor VG just a little bit in the way that they're kind of a more aggressive team. They have a lot of confidence in their movement. And I feel like that will work to their advantage going into Oregon. FlipSid is, however, giving us a really strong showing on this Clubhouse. They already put it on to match points. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that confidence boost might not be there for VG to give them that aggression.
I feel like with Oregon, what we typically see happen is the drop hatch in the lobby gets open, at least for the bottom bomb site. The drop hatch gets opened up, and it's smoke it out. Who's going to bait out the gas grenades first? Go in, get a plant. Oh, he's timing it right. Let's see if we can get the kill.
And sometimes we'll see an echo to double up on those smokes. I mean, there's a bunch of different layers. I mean, for the defense, it's the mirror window in the closet. It's the smoke grenades. It's the echo drone. And C4 even.
Yeah.
And for the offense, it's having the Hibana open up the mirror maybe, or it's having the Capitao to neutralize the mirror window. Or it's having the smoke grenades to lay down to deny visibility. We've seen before smoke grenades get lined up in the basement, and instead of a defender going for planting on top of the dryer or next to the dryer, as we so commonly see, they will plant in the corner next to the wash bins.
And there's even been sometimes we've seen where they know that those are the two most common spots to be pre-fired, so they'll gas everything out, they'll smoke everything out, and they'll actually just plant in the middle of the room because we've seen it before. Impact grenades go towards the laundry basket or towards the dryer, and you've got Thermite trying to place the diffuser down, and he's in the middle like, hey, you're missing me.
It's going all over here and over here, yeah. But on that upstairs bomb site, we've seen in the matchup we did see Oregon played earlier today, and in that matchup we saw very common theme in the attacks for upstairs. It was neutralize tower, neutralize attic, and then repel onto the B windows, neutralize whoever's playing in B, and just repel on in. And that's play one person on the big A window to cut off the rotation. And that's pretty much what we've been seeing very commonly in Europe and in our matchup earlier today, of course. We'll see what happens if one of these teams is going to be opting to do that. Maybe they're going to see, we're going to go back to the old trend of armory and master bedroom and going into closet. Who knows?
I mean, so with the change in bringing Hibana, and now Hibana's now a viable op, it seems like the closet wall has been forgotten many times. In some cases, because a lot of the times it seems like we're now
Hibana is making that.
So I guess what I'm getting at is that we have other tactics to get into the bomb site. Now, like you said, take over red, take over the white tower, and move on forward. And now you've got the north windows on the B site. So it seems like you said, there's different ways to push onto that top floor, and I'm not seeing as much of that. Let's push into master bedroom. Let's open up that closet wall, and let's push down or plant down into the middle dorms.
I would attribute that to the mirror windows, because as we've seen from teams time and time again, they'll put their mirror windows in the hallway facing into master, or they'll place someone in armory, open up a hole in the wall into master, and just there's too many angles for the attackers to deal with, and there's too many players that need to get taken care of in order to make that push successful. And then on top of that, even once you've done all of those, you've taken care of the player in the hallway, the player in armory, then you have to deal with a Pulse or a Valkyrie underneath, ready with that C4 to take care of the planter. I mean, there's too many factors to consider in that push, and I feel like that's why a lot of teams have been leaning on the B window attic take, because it's so contained, and you don't have to think about roamers. You put one claymore on the kitchen door, and no more roamers. They don't influence the round much at all anymore. I mean, sometimes you'll see maybe someone on junk tower, but that's just not very common.
Do you see a defender staying inside an attic, whether it be mute, bandit, someone to make sure
We've seen it before.
no one pushes in red? Is that one of the primary tactics now to hold on to that top floor site in Oregon?
I wouldn't say so. It's too easy to kill a player in attic. I mean, we saw before in the previous matchup today, there was a Castle, for example, playing in the attic, and he just got picked off extremely easily without making any influence on the round. Here we have some replays from the match that, no, it's not over, guys. Relax, we're good. But we are going to play replays because we have them and their gameplay. All right?
Yeah, so like Kix has said, the match is not over yet, some decisions are still being made, but these are the first 6 rounds of gameplay right now because it is 4-2. FlipSid is up.
It's such a huge decision what's about to be, like, what's going to happen with this particular match, so we really have to take every single precaution and every step to make sure it gets, well, the decision is correct. This is an unfortunate moment here.
There's that pre-C4 placed and
just
right next to it. Fuse Charge was right there. You can see the slow-mo. He places it down and doesn't blow it up.
Truly unfortunate circumstance from Mint, or unfortunate. It wasn't his fault per se. Situational awareness here from Hot and Cold, but he gets the job done anyway.
And there's Hot and Cold. Yep.
And see, the round was going so much in favor of the attackers here, and it just happened that Hot and Cold got a nice flank off and locked it out for his team. Zilchi knows.
Zilchi knows that one. He also knew the one to the right, but unfortunately that was going to be Eclipse that peeks around and gets them both.
Not enough bullets. It is truly unfortunate. This is one of those rounds, oh, that was such a nice shot from Easy Peasy. It was one of those rounds where you get stuck pushing yourself in through the moto drop, straight in through the moto door, and there's not a whole lot of options there for you as an attacker because you're stumbling over your teammates, and it's all the defenders have to do is stare at one little door. Nice shot from Adam there. Tried to bring the round back into it. Actually, they almost won that round. And if it weren't for that lineup, I have to wonder if they could have brought it into their favor.
Yeah, because at that point it was a 2-on-2 or 2-on-3?
2-on-3.
2-on-3.
So they could have easily killed the Montaigne. And oh, sweet. So we are going to be, it's confirmed, we're going to be getting a rehost 2-4. And I'm not sure entirely the circumstances of said rehost, but we'll find out when we get into the match. So we're going in, boys. We get gameplay. Let's do this. So it's going to be 5 versus 5, a full rehost. So the operators will be fully revived, the utility will be fully revived. But
it's basically a fresh restart, as if the round never happened. However, the bomb site is mandatory to stay the same, and I think the operators as well are the same.
Yeah. So it is going to be, for the most part, a similar round. It's just going to come down to, again, seeing if Pojuman can play that same game he played in the tunnel, because that tunnel game, or that tunnel play that Pojuman was putting forth in the previous round was what ultimately put his team into the advantage. And if he can make that work again, then I have to surmise that he's going to be able to win this round for his team. Will Vertical Gaming be making that adjustment, though? Are they going to try and push from a different side? Are they going to try for maybe a Moto Church Wall blue take, which is what we haven't seen in a long, long time? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it just because the operators are the same, they don't get the option to change their operators. I feel like we will see a very similar push from VG that we saw before.
I mean, they have a lot of versatility with their current lineup. Of, I mean, they have a Thermite and a Hibana, so there's all the breachability that you could possibly want. Got a lot of HP on that Fuse. He can fill a similar role to like a Blackbeard, for example, even though he can get headshot. Yes, he does have a lot of H-Pizzle, all right? And he does also, they also still have that Glaz, which means he can pretty much push anything similar to a Montaigne.
Yep.
So Pojuman's going to be playing aggressive in that tunnel yet again, as that barbed wire set up in preparation for the King George push here, and they will be making that same exact attack run. Now, it is going to come down a lot to this particular matchup, Pojo versus King George, who will be emerging victorious. And you have to wonder, Pojo, man, he's already used one of his smokes. If King George can bait out all three, he will be putting himself at a disadvantage, or Pojuman will be putting himself at a disadvantage.
And that's the second one, and Glass has not even used a single smoke grenade of his own, but he actually sees Pojo back forward.
He's stuck in that corner now.
Last gas grenade has been called out, and so Pojo's actually going to push forward and actually go for the shot. There's going to be the kill that he needed, but he does get down to the process and get killed off by the gas grenade. What a trade!
Yeah, that is a huge trade, and very important that Pojuman manages to trade that back with his smoke grenade, because if he hadn't, his advantage would be purely in VG's favor. But now Valkyrie has moved herself into the position of construction tunnel and is denying in place of the smoke.
Yep.
But a nice kill from Snake Nade using the fuse charge onto Zilchi. Zilchi doesn't get out of the site in time, and now the man advantage back in favor of attackers.
It was 4-3 in favor of FlipSid before the rehost. Now we're here in 4-3 in favor of Vertical Gaming. This is what I think Vertical Gaming want. I mean, obviously this is what they want, but this is what they needed.
Yeah. Now, they are going to be going, they have the drop open, they have the man advantage. All they have to do is use this last minute to get these push successfully into the site. They still have not established control over construction tunnel, and Just now, Eclipse gets the pick onto Hot and Cold.
And so Eclipse is going to move on forward. We do have Easy Peasy being droned out. They know he's in the back of locker, and it looks like Easy Peasy gets on one, but he does get taken out by Adam. And we're going to have the last defender. That is Mint here in the corner of Church. He gives away his position here, and now Snake Nade sees him, misses that little pixel peek. But finally, Snake gets it as he drops on down to the floor and picks off Mint. It looks as though Vertical Gaming will take round number 7.
An excellent attack round from Vertical Gaming, and they got a successful push into that construction tunnel onto Pojoman, and unfortunately Valkyrie, who took Pojoman's place afterwards, was unable to get any trades back. And because of that, Vertical Gaming took the round. Now we are going to be seeing, it's still match point for FlipSid. If FlipSid managed to win this attack round onto the basement, they will be able to put themselves into the second map. So there's still hope to avoid overtime.
Yeah, and here with FlipSid going on attack, we are going to see Bombsight go back downstairs.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
With
as many bombs as they
that being the case, we've got Mint as Montaigne, and previously what we saw him do, and at least taking a look at what they did with Montaigne on the stock and bar hold. They were pushing around, they were able to work out and kind of get those individual picks, but that's very difficult to do when you have every man on site, like we're most likely going to have Vertical Gaming do this time.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Last time, they kind of pushed... Here's Avian statistics on the screen, by the way. Hibana and Bandit main, playing the opposite roles, the parallels, the counters to each other. But, yeah, what we saw from FlipSid on this particular attack last time was an interesting kind of strat. It was... well, because they couldn't get that armory wall open, they just opted to push through Moto, and it just kind of didn't work out for them, to be honest. They tried to establish a little bit of control onto the kitchen, but they couldn't make it work out for them. And nothing, they just kind of pushed through Moto door and died, if I'm being completely honest.
And so now Hot and Cold is going to be droning out that kitchen hallway. We've got Mint trying to clear out the cash room and CCTV room upstairs, and that looks to be successful.
They're just clearing out for the roamers here. On the basement defense, there's not a lot of options as a roamer. So as long as the attackers drone every nook and cranny, they will confirm that all 5 of the defensive operators are in the basement. Now, it doesn't happen on a lot of maps, but on Clubhouse, it's almost 100% on this basement hold.
So keeping an eye at Hot and Cold, he is keeping a track on that main hallway downstairs. There's not going to be a lot of rotation that can happen. Snake Nade is keeping an eye on that garage hallway. He's actually moving over towards ladder. You've got 2 VG members inside of Armory. You've got 2 VG members inside of the church. And Snake is still waiting for someone to drop down through ladder, but that's not the case right now. Yeah,
I don't think FlipSid's going to be going for that for that garage tunnel. They are instead opting for a Moto church take. Now, this is, again, something that we haven't seen a whole lot of in recent experience. Now, I think that Hot and Cold actually did see the foot of Snake Nade there, or Avian rather.
Here we may have, but it looks as though we're going to have Easy Peasy opening up more of that kitchen floor, actually right next to that drop hatch, making sure that they're basically out of nade sight.
This is kind of interesting. They're not going to be pushing, seemingly, they're not going to be pushing their way into B. They haven't opened the drop down yet. There's a minute 20 left. Montaigne is going towards Moto, and yet they're forcing people out of B. They're not pushing it, but they're forcing them out of B into A. So they're forcing the defenders into their push, which is kind of an interesting take on this. Now, you can see some aggression there from VG pushing into garage.
They actually, yeah, you saw Pulse and Doc all both get up top. Snake, however, is hurt still a little bit after injecting himself with some stim pistol. Mint is being pushed out of Moto with those gas grenades. Glass is going to take suit in there, but it looks as though Adam going to pick off Hot and Cold. Hey, King George is going to get Zilchi now, a 2-on-5 with 45 seconds left to go. This is looking very good for Vertical Gaming to take this into overtime with this round. You've got Easy Peasy just holding down the main corridor. He gets shot a little bit as he strafes across. He's inside of the basement hallway now, and Mint will go down by Avian. They know where the last man is, and Easy Peasy just cannot get any kills here, and it will be a flawless round for VG.
And a great defense from VG, but more importantly, I feel like a little bit of a flop there by FlipSid on that attack. They didn't really seem to know exactly what their plan was going into that round. They were setting themselves up properly. They had it all established, but when it came to the actual push, I felt like they were a little bit off-center. Probably had something to do with the fact that VG pushed so aggressively into garage. And maybe that FlipSid were trying to push their way through garage tunnel to sandwich between blue and Moto, and that would make a lot of sense. But because they lost that blue push, their Moto push kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, there wasn't any kind of engagement or pressure from Cave.
Yeah.
There was just, like you said, Moto main stairs,
And
the blue push got denied.
And again, it is really interesting that they opted to open up the floor above Armory wall with their buck, right? And they weren't attacking Armory, so they just forced the players out of B into A, which is where they're attacking. It was an interesting take from FlipSid. The one round that they did win on that basement was, again, because of that unreinforced wall in Armory, and VG is not making that mistake twice.
Yeah, see, one of the things that would have been very nice to see from that FlipSid attack would have been, instead of having Buck open up the entire floor, if they would have brought a fuse, place a fuse charge, don't blow it yet. Inside of the kitchen facing down that Armory. As soon as you push into church, then you blow up that fuse charge, it scatters them towards the lockers, and that's when you catch them in transition.
Creates chaos, and like you said, transitions. Good way to catch people off guard. But again, now we are in overtime, and VG will be on attack first, which means FlipSid will be defending the basement. This is their second chance to win this basement hold going into the later game. Pojoman will be probably playing in that tunnel again, and yeah, lo and behold, King George challenging a Pojoman in the tunnel. This challenge is pretty much the case of the match. If one of these players beats the other, it usually goes in that team's favor.
Now, Pojoman, like we said, is going to stay here on this corner once gas grenades have already been baited out. Adam's going to move forward, getting rid of that barbed wire. Oh, it might not have done the trick, might have overthrown it.
Gonna have to use another grenade, and 1 minute already off the clock. 2 smoke grenades and 2 grenades. So equal utility being spent by both of these teams. Pojoman not wasting any time with his smoke grenades, stacking them on top of each other.
Ooh, and the shotgun comes on out. King George will have about half his health removed. Now it seems the push is going to come in, and King George is going to become victorious in this push. This is the 4th time King George has won 3 of them. And now Hot and Cold gets the nade, or the C4 kill onto Snake Nade.
So keep trading it back. Fuse being taken off the board, so even though they have established themselves onto the construction tunnel, they don't have a whole lot of advantage going in their favor anymore, given that those fuse charges will not be there to force the players out of back Armory. The drop instead being opened to force the players out of back Armory.
Now Glaz can still perform his role even though he is down to about 10-15 health, so he will stay inside of the cave, watching for someone to possibly strafe across and try to get captured in a cross. We'll have to see here. Avian, though, looks like the drop hatches will get opened up. He's got 0 Hibana charges left. King George moving on forward, throws out 1 gas grenade. Easy Peasy just cannot stand up. He stands up. King George might fall, but Hot and Cold will be there. Now Easy Peasy just needs to turn around, go for the shots. Hot and Cold is dancing with death here. Easy Peasy peeks around and finishes off Adam. Now King George is still here right beside the locker. He'll be taken out right now by Eclipse, it looks like, from the drop hatch. Very good shots. It's a 3-on-3 at the moment, but King George is drastically low on health. Hot and Cold is going to take out Eclipse. And it looks like, though, Hot and Cold with 1 health remaining will actually finish off. No, not finish off King George. Zilchi moves on over to Locker, finishes off 1. No, that's Mint getting a double kill into King and Avian, and that will be going to FlipSid. They now go round 1 up here in the overtime.
Putting it on match point. Now all they have to do is win a basement attack, and this is tricky because FlipSid, they did win one of these basement attacks. What it was kind of, again, it was because the Armory wall was not reinforced. Ever since the Armory wall has been reinforced, they have been unsure how they're handling that attack exactly, and they've struggled with it.
Now this is a little odd. Maybe it might come to a rehost, but right now it is going to come to a rehost here. I was about to say VG, because we had to rehost originally for that admin announcement or for that bug earlier. They won their defensive hold. They weren't able to go to it on overtime, which they typically should be allowed to do. So we are going to have just another quick rehost real quick. Vertical Gaming is going to be downstairs in the basement.
Yes.
Are they going to... will we see that Mira, that Pulse,
Probably.
the Bandit, the Smoke, the Rook? That seems to be their meta. We actually saw Snake, I think it was, go Doc the last time they were defending.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any variation of that, I guess. I think what's more important is the way that FlipSid chooses to attack on that basement hold, because again, they've been struggling with that particular attack. It seems like they lay out an idea, a plan on their strategy to take downstairs. They have, okay, we're going to open up the drop, we're going to establish ourselves on the stairs, and we're going to maybe push through construction, or sorry, through garage. I actually don't know if that's their plan because they haven't ever been able to get through into garage. but that seems to be what they're going for. It's just unfortunately a little bit of well-timed aggression from VG is collapsing that strategy, and they're falling apart from it.
I want to say, like I said, VG, their flip side is falling apart a little bit on that defensive push, or because to me it seems like they keep on clustering into that moto. They can't get the garage hallway.
And clustering into moto
pushing cave.
It's detrimental to everything. I mean, you can make it work in theory, and I've seen it work once or twice, but I feel like it comes down a little bit to luck at that point, because I mean we saw the same thing on VG. They got stuck. Their first attack strat on basement, it didn't work. They tried to push into the tunnel, and they tried to open up kitchen, and they could not successfully get that to work. So instead, they opted to just push into moto. And what did they do? They all stumbled over each other, and they kind of got collapsed on by the defenders. I mean, it was a 3v3. They still had the mans. They could have easily pulled it in their favor, but you're pushing everyone through moto. It's very difficult to do. We do have everyone back into the match here, so we should be starting very soon.
One of the things I'm hopeful, and I thought that we were going to see it with Doc and Pulse the last time VG took defense down here, was going for the flank. Now, almost every time that is taken, that is hindered by the C4, or I'm sorry, by the Claymore on the ladder of garage, either that Claymore was not placed down, or they somehow managed to get rid of it. But they were able to come up, and then they decided, hey, time's dwindling down, let's go back onto site. Do you think that we might have enough time here for VG to then pull off that successful flank?
You mean come up the garage ladder?
Yeah, come up garage ladder, go around like we typically see a 3-speed do.
I mean, it's not necessary. I don't think they necessarily need to. In theory, they could, but I think it's better for them to be playing conservatively, especially when they have the numbers advantage like they did last time. There's no reason to like push the aggression. It's not entirely necessary. But we are starting now. We are getting back into the match. So sorry about that. Again, it is I think 5-4 now in favor of FlipSid.
Correct.
They are on match point. If they win this round, this basement attack, they will be able to push it to the second map in their favor.
Yes, and so this is map number 1. We still have map number 2, which is going to be Oregon, and map 3, if it gets to it, which we hope it will, all the way down onto Chalet.
Again, really interesting to me that VG chose not to pick Chalet. They put it to the third map, but I suppose maybe they're comfortable, super comfortable in Oregon. We'll find out.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
So now with VG holding this downstairs basement site, we are going to see the same operators. Instead of the Doc, they've traded it out for the Rook. But again, Adam can play that operator, can play that role very similarly, depending on, regardless of whether it's Rook or Doc.
Yeah, they were going to be seeing a Montaigne coming from Mint again. Going to be interesting to see how exactly he chooses to use it, because that Montaigne push is so incredibly critical to the attack strat overall. Whenever you pick it on a map like this, for example, on this site like this, every single operator, including Montaigne, is critical where they push, because there's so many bottlenecks. But with someone like Montaigne, who's able to force out those bottlenecks and apply pressure to the defenders in a way that somebody without a shield in front of them can't, his push becomes the most pivotal of all the attackers.
Agreed, and it looks like previously we've been seeing that Montaigne push come from the main stairs or down inside of Moto. I want to say back in the 6th Invitational and maybe not season 3, but 6th Invitational, we saw the Montaigne push actually come through cave and try to be like a live drone, if you will.
He used to do that.
It seems like now Glass has taken on that role.
Yeah. And as you can see here, the attacking operators are very thoroughly droning the entire map. Again, as I stated earlier, on Clubhouse basement defense, it is very difficult to get a roam off. It's almost impossible because the attackers are so thorough in almost every single team.
Oh, a very good shot here by Hot and Cold as he comes around the stairs to take down the aggressive Snake.
That might have been what costs them the round. Snake pushing into the hallway, just really unfortunate. Hot and Cold was ready to catch him in that circumstance.
Now Zilji has to be very careful here. He knows that there's someone underneath at C4, whether it be a Valkyrie, whether it be a Pulse. He's got to be very cautious here, but Eclipse actually takes down easy peasy from the armory, looking up through the floor. I think that was kitchen hallway is where he got taken out.
And there are those impact grenades onto the drop. Unfortunately, for VG, not actually able to catch every single one of the Habanas in this instance. Looks like.
And you're going to see Eclipse there with the C4. He goes for the shot and will not get it. Zilchi's going to back out and bait it just in time. And Now he's very cautious though. He knows that there's a shotgun right underneath of him. He's got to be very weary. And so now he's going to back on out of here, try to get a different angle, look on down through the drop hatch that Hibana had opened up. I like this positioning from Glaz. It's able to look down to where he knows there's someone underneath, but it takes time.
I like the way overall FlipSid is trying to handle this. They did just lose Zilchi. Unfortunately, he was rappelling upside down on that kitchen window, got picked off by the Pulse, who could obviously see his heartbeat through the floor. But now I do like the way they're trying to handle this. It's a little bit different than what they have in the past, and it's at least got more of a refined plan going on. They are at a man disadvantage, though, and only 44 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, now we see Montaigne. He's going to be dropping into Moto Hatch here, and they will be pushing into
Moto again.
Into Moto, then into Church. Luckily for them, they don't have a gas or a smoke they need to worry about. They do have barbed wire, though, and multiple different punch holes they have to worry about. Adam's going to be moving on over to Blue. Montaigne will spot him out. He actually pushes forward, but Adam gets a shot on the side of Montaigne. On the side of Mint, Pojo will go down. And now it's all up to two members of FlipSid, Mint and Hot and Cold. Hot's holding down the side here, looking for Pulse, but now he's got to push on forward. Shoots through the holes here, actually gets one onto Adam. However, Eclipse takes down Mint, a 3-on-1 with 5 seconds left to go, and it will go to VG here. Hot and Cold will go down by Eclipse, and we're going into the 11th round here on Clubhouse.
So a 5-5 first map in this series. That's fantastic omen for the rest of this matchup. This is the final round now, and it will be a defense of Bar from FlipSid, a very difficult thing to deal with. Defending Bar is not exactly the easiest thing in the world. VG are obviously going to be able to read the way that FlipSid defended that last time and work around it. And by that I mean they're going to be ready for Hot and Cold's flank. They're not going to succumb to a 3K from behind again.
Yep.
And if they did, it would be really interesting. Wow, a very last minute change up by FlipSid, moving the operators around, taking out a Jaeger. Now that's an interesting decision.
Knowing that they're used a fuse last time they were on this site, I would like to see a Jaeger still, but it looks as though instead they might be pulling out the mirror, which they are. Zilchi's going to play the mirror. I'm curious as to where they're effectively going to place those mirror windows to give them the information they need.
Yeah, I am curious as well. Maybe it's going to be in Strip Club. Who knows? Zilchi's looking like he's going to be setting himself up in Strip. And you could, in theory, establish yourself really well as a Mira in this position. Reinforcing the walls. Okay, yeah. No, they're going to hold Strip. They're going to be reinforcing all of the walls in Strip Club. And I'm really curious to see their mirror placement in here.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, I feel like...
It's kind of interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I feel like it's kind of, like you said, interesting. I feel like VG is still setting up for that stockroom push.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say is, like, why are you setting yourselves up to hold Strip Club? Or did they just reinforce... Did they reinforce Pojo Man in there?
They may have. Still looking for him here. But no, easy peasy and Zilchi there. So Pojo is reinforced.
They put their smoke in Strip Club when they know, well, when they historically, VG has attacked stock.
Now he does have a crawl through space into pool table, but if that pool table window gets opened up, which Eclipse is probably about to do here shortly.
Actually, I don't think he will. He's trying to hold the flank from the front door. That wouldn't be good for him. But it's still weird that you're putting your smoke in. Whatever. We're going into the round now, and Adam is setting himself up to cover for a plant. There's not a whole lot in way of stopping that plant on the defensive team. Mint has established himself underneath. He has 1 C4 and 1 chance to stop the plant, but it's likely the Montaigne's going to absorb that damage.
Yeah, and actually what could be tricky for Mint here is if that fuse charge goes down, it is likely that at least one of those cluster charges right here will go down through
the drop down.
The drop down. Now, luckily, that made it into the lobby, not into the stockroom.
VG doesn't know this, but Smoke is in no position to stop this plant right now, and he hasn't, as of yet, rotated back. He's starting to make his way there now, knowing that the push is coming into stock. But, oh, and that's Smoke off the board.
Right there. Poor transitioning from Pojo. And so that will be down. King George taking a successful kill into Smoke. Hopefully they know that. Hopefully they've identified him early on to know that Smoke has been killed off.
I think they all know that Pojo Man's the one playing Smoke. I mean, he did so well against them in that one round in the construction tunnel, so I feel like they will be getting their plant down pretty soon here. There's not a whole lot on, again, not a lot on the defensive team right now that can stop this push.
So what we're going to have here, Ash is actually going to be the one to go and plant right behind Adam with the cover of King George. The smoke grenades are going down, and you're going to have Zilchi not doing any peeking just yet. Easy Peasy trying to go, but King George is here. And Hot and Cold will have a couple bullets tagged towards him. Easy Peasy, same with him. King George is also hurt quite a bit here, and the impact grenade will actually take him down. He gets picked back up by Fuse, though, and Montaigne just needs to hold onto the door. This can go in favor here of VG. Diffuser has been planted. There's about 30 seconds left on the clock. One shot down. King George gets one. He's going to go for the second, but it's going to be Zilchi getting that kill down. King George actually got 2 kills here. A 3-on-2 at the moment. Last 2 alive are going to be Zilchi and Easy Peasy. They need to get it, but Eclipse comes around from a flank from behind. VG coming back from a 4-2 loss to win this map 6-5.
An incredible deficit and an incredible comeback from VG, as you said. Great round there. I honestly, though, it was a little weird. FlipSid, they put their smoke in Strip Club, and historically, VG has been attacking through stock, and smoke is the one thing that is stopping that. Is the one thing.
Smoke is your direct counter to Montaigne at this point in the meta. What I would have rather liked to see, not have smoke in Strip Club, obviously. Reinforce that wall. If they blow up in Strip Club, awesome. You know the push is coming from there. But with the way the current meta is on Clubhouse, Montaigne is your near guaranteed push from stock. So you need to set up for that and then adjust to something different. Not set up for something different and then try to adjust back to what the anticipated push is going to be.
You're absolutely right, and that's unfortunate that that did not happen. FlipSid losing that just barely, and we will be seeing the second map. And it's worth noting that despite them losing the first map, and despite it being their pick, that was 5-6. That was as close as it comes. And you have to wonder, going into this next match, it's very likely that we'll see a complete momentum shift. I mean, FlipSid is extremely capable team, and there's every possibility that they're, oof, that was a nice kill. It's entirely possible that they're going to be able to bring the second map into their favor and bring it to the third.
Yeah, Oregon is a map that I feel like FlipSid, like you said, it on the surface it favors VG with their play style going up against a very strat heavy, a very strat intense team such as FlipSid. But at the same time, there are things that I see FlipSid doing that to me make me feel like they can get that win.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, both of these teams could easily bring any of these maps, against each other. They are both such skilled teams. So, who knows? We'll find out. I'm curious to see how both of these teams are going to be handling their basement defenses, their upstairs defenses. Are they going to be going heavy roam? Are they going to be going heavy anchor? I mean, we've been seeing so many different interpretations of each and every one of these bomb sites from the different regions, the different teams, and just specific into the region. I mean,
we've seen holds. We've seen 5-man onsite defense. We've seen 3-2s. We've even seen a 2-1-2. You hold actually. It was a 3-1-1. You had one defender downstairs trying to hold both bomb sites. 3 people were upstairs, 1 in attic, 2 top floor. And you had 1 inside of the meeting hall. And to me, that was one of the most exaggerated strats I've ever seen.
I mean,
but I think it worked out for the team.
It works because you only need one person in the basement to hold the site if you have complete upstairs control.
Yep.
So the only way for the attackers to actually get into the site, if you have somebody roaming in meeting hall, you have someone roaming in armory, you have someone roaming upstairs in kids, dorms, wherever, the only way for the attackers to get into the site to bypass those roamers is to go through construction tunnels. So the person in sight, all he has to do is just focus on construction tunnels. So make it a smoke. But we will be getting right into the match. No waiting this time. Going into Oregon.
Yes, and so like I said, Oregon's a second map, and we're going to head right into it now as it's time to get on. Time to get on. Past Clubhouse. We've had our 11 rounds. Let's get into Oregon.
Yeah. So Capitao immediately coming out, and this is, again, because he directly counters those mirror windows downstairs, but we will be seeing a kid's dorm, a defense first from FlipSid, countering a little bit, I guess, the Capitao pick, though it will, obviously, Capitao will help them going into that pick. Even those firebolts are useful in pretty much any circumstance.
Yeah, and what's really nice that sometimes is overlooked is the fact of, with Capitao, he can still play very vertically. And oftentimes it's not used in that sense. It's used top-down, okay, let's look through a window, get him out of a corner. But with Capitao, especially on a site such as this, you can open up some of the floor, even just enough for a bullet hole, and you can still get a Capitao arrow through that to where you need it to go.
Right, so let's say there's a rook playing in between the 2 B windows, and he's denying you your B window push, which is, again, the push that we've been seeing from most of these teams. Then you can come underneath, shoot a little bit of bullets up in there. I mean, maybe you don't kill him with your gun, but then you place your firebolt on there, and then he can't play that position anymore. He's exposed to the players repelling on the B window.
Yep. There's lots of different ways that you can play Capitao. Not just, oh hey, let's stop them from defusing or killing the diffuser after it's planted.
Right. We're going to be seeing a very similar setup to what we've been seeing from most teams on this particular upstairs defense, opening up the attic, pushing all the way in, and trying to deny the tower wall from being opened with those bandit charges. But we will be seeing VG setting themselves up to, looks like, take underneath the bomb site. Not the most common strategy, but seeming a little bit more popular on in the North American meta. There are Zilchi and Hot and Cold establishing themselves in a position to counter this.
Yeah, like you said, Zilchi's inside of the kitchen right now, and you've got Hot and Cold that's playing Jaeger, inside of the bathroom. Now, Eclipse is going to rush on in there. That's the one engagement we're going to see between Eclipse and Hot and Cold. Zilchi is going to be captured here inside of kitchen. Adam's waiting for that wall to get opened up, and looks like Hot and Cold gets droned on out. A good Valk came outside by Garden, but Hot and Cold is now feeling the pressure. He's been droned out. I don't know if he does a rotate hole in the kitchen. He does. But with that, knowing that the wall inside of dining to kitchen's been opened up, he doesn't have the ability to move that as much as he was planning on. Eclipse is now still here holding the showers, waiting for Hot and Cold to try to push out. A very good angle, one that's a softer angle, trying to wait for Hot and Cold. But is he going to get aggressive? He is going to get aggressive, and right there, Eclipse just not able to get the shots. Does a little bit of damage to him, but not enough to take him down. Mint also taking the brunt of some damage here. I believe that was top floor. Now with Mint here, actually, sorry, Mint is inside of the meeting hall. Now, you've got Eclipse. He knows Hot and Cold's inside. He's already punctured a couple bullets into him. Hot and Cold is feeling the pinch. Eclipse goes beyond that, strafes past him towards the main hallway, and he's actually going to take down Zilchi. He rushes on inside. He's going to not see Hot and Cold. A couple bullets going to go to his own teammate, but Hot and Cold gets a double right there, taking down Eclipse and Avian. But he will be taken out by Snake Nade on the crossfire on the trade. A 3-on-3 at the moment, however, Easy Peasy comes up with a kill of his own. From above, looking down through the floor, Capitao gets another drop shot onto Mint. Pojo takes out King George, a 2-on-1. This round is just going super quick, 40 seconds to go. Easy Peasy drastically hurt. Pojo still full health. Adam sitting around 25 health.
He doesn't have a lot of time to work with here. The last two defensive operators are in good positions to just sit and wait. Smoke has 2 grenades left, and he can stall out this entire round as soon as he figures out exactly where Adam is playing.
Now that is a very good hole that he just opened up. Adam saw it, but he also sees the Valk cam.
He's trying.
He's trying to get it. He finally does. He shakes it off, though. That is actually perfect, because now Pojo can just toss his grenades right here over the ledge, and that's going to be a gas, and that could be the very end. It is the end of him, and there it is. Good thought by Pojo to open it up and throw those gas grenades out.
So an entire contention all the way down on the, well, the first floor. Pretty much the entire round was fought down there. 4 players lost on the attacking team, and inevitably the 2 anchors, all they had to do was just wait for that Adam to come upstairs. They weren't unable to deal with Hot and Cold playing in that bathroom, who got a nice lineup shot onto 2 of the attacking players as they kind of stumbled over each other a little bit.
Yeah, it was very, very confusing to watch. I want to say because Eclipse, who was the Ash, was inside of showers. All she had to do was just stay on that angle. Hot and Cold had already been hit up a couple bullets by peeking out, and he felt the brunt of it. He backed on into showers. You now have someone that should be pushing in. I think that was Capitao, pushing in from dining. You should have had someone go into meeting hall or possibly main lobby to take out the Mint. I think that was Bandit that was inside a meeting hall.
Well, they had one unified idea. Their attack strategy was clear. They were trying to push their way through kitchen and drunk tower and just like come at it from all the way from west on first floor. That was their entire strategy, and they wanted to clear out the roamers so they could shoot up into the anchors on the site. But they just lost the fight with the roamers. That's all it really comes down to. And then as such, they weren't able to deal with the anchors on the site, and that lost them the round. Now you can see Adam's statistics on the screen. His favorite attack operator being Buck, his favorite defense, Rook.
Yeah, that's a very high headshot percentage, which I want to call out, because Adam, like we said, is newer to the Pro League. And being able to bring these numbers, bring these stats of playing 15 rounds, having 13 kills is, in my eyes, something that's very impressive from a first-timer in the Pro League.
Yeah, it's worth noting, guys. I mean, if you think about it, kill-death ratio in Pro League, it's like this. I mean, if you can get a kill around, you are contributing to your team. If you get 2 kills around, then you are dominating for your team. I mean, every player you kill in Pro League is just of an equal caliber of you. So it is very impressive if you can go 1-1.
So now Mint is here on top of the roof here. He opened up that middle dorm's window for basically trying to cut off anyone that might be going back and forth from master bedroom or middle dorms to the A site.
We're seeing some FlipSid. They are going to be going for an armory/kids take. Now, this is something that we have not seen in a long time. Most teams not favoring this particular attack. But FlipSid just going balls to the wall with it. They do not mind at all. They're going to go for the old hat. If it works, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You can see King George, though. He was stationed inside of the attic holding the soft angle, making sure that, hey, if they're going to go peek me, they're going to have to do it slowly on that barbed wire. We do have, however, Pojo Man looking like he's going to try to get the closet opened up, unless it might have been Zilchi. I heard the Hibana charge go off. Oh, Pojo Man, though, will go down by King George.
That's the thermite off the board. That's a lot of their strategy gone out the window. Now they're going to have to rely on those Hibana charges, and I think 2 have already been used. So the most they can open up in the closet, I believe... No, he still has 2. So they can open up a crouch roll in the closet, but it's going to be small and hard to get through.
Yeah, King George, however, is... I want to say he's inside a red tower. He got out, he dropped down into the meeting hall, got out of there, and now he's on top of red tower. He's going to open up the window here when he gets the call, hopefully being able to look down to that primary window at the top of the stairs inside of the main building.
He will catch some players off guard if he peeks that, I believe. They are, again, pushing straight from Armory and Master, but now they've lost their thermite, so their strategy is kind of fallen to pieces. And they have to force themselves through these little bottlenecks. Hot and Cold looking for that pick, but Adam's just not going to peek out and give it to him.
And this is smart play. You know where they're pushing from, but you know that you don't need to go for that aggressive peek.
I mean,
you hold the softer angle.
You got 30 seconds on the board. Why would you?
Now Eclipse is going to come up the back stairs. Snake actually drops. He's going to try to come around the main stairwell up behind Zilchi. C4 from underneath. Going to stop, but not actually hit him off. King George and Snake both utilize their C4s. And so with that, I don't think the small dorm's wall got opened up. Zilchi crouches on forward, but Adam peeks around. There's that softer angle. He finally went around and got it. Shotgun from Avian will be unsuccessful, but Adam goes and picks up the kill. Mint and Hot and Cold are going to get one. Mint's going to get another one here onto Adam. A 2-on-2. Snake is just holding it very soft. With 1 second left, it will go to the defenders as the diffuser was not planted.
So that double C4, while it did not actually turn out any results by killing people, it completely denied the default plant spot to the attackers. It opened up the entire ceiling and floor, thus allowing the 2 players underneath to hold that bomb easily. Diffuser, rather. Now we're looking at 1-1, and FlipSid will be going on to the basement defense.
Yeah, and so that basement defense is kind of what we were mentioning a little bit before on how a lot of the times it seems like it's just a fight to who can gas out who the most and who can go in for a sneaky plant and then who can go for a blind shot to one of the 2 corners we talked about earlier.
You know, it used to be before the introduction of Mira that there were a lot of complications with actually holding the lobby. That's why lobby attacks were so popular, because it was difficult to use that closet to your advantage. I mean, yes, you could smoke, but it was difficult, and oftentimes the smoke would get picked off or whatever, something would happen. And then with the addition of Miras, it's made it much, much easier for teams to actually hold from that small closet onto a plant, going onto laundry, going onto dryer, or wherever they choose to plant from the lobby take. So that's added another layer of, okay, we need to establish that we use that Capitao now. We use the Capitao bolt to deny the Mira. So it's just counter upon counter upon counter, trying to get contention over that little closet, and thus take control of the below lobby.
And now what we're seeing here from VG is looking like just a flush. Pushing in from small tower, moving in towards dining through kitchen. They're just trying to clear out the roamers, make sure that they haven't missed anybody on their avenue to that bottom site.
It's a really safe way to play it. If you cut off the west side of the building, then you won't have to deal with any of the roamers coming from, well, the west side of the building moving into the future, because roamers can't really get there as soon as you've cleared it out.
Now Eclipse will have to be cautious though. She doesn't know it, or Eclipse doesn't know it, but there is a pulse inside of the attic.
Yeah, we've seen the player in the attic playing this exact position do well in my man earlier today. So she got a nice pick onto Adam, though it looks like through the front door.
And you were talking about how powerful these mirror windows are, not only for being on site to see when that push is coming through, but now they're being used inside of the meeting hall to see when they're actually inside of the lobby here.
Yeah, we've seen this used before by, I cannot remember the name of the team, but we've seen it used before in this Pro League so far. And it wasn't used to effect by them, but looks like FlipSid is using it pretty well. And they did get rid of that Capital, which, while isn't entirely necessary given the way that this defense is set up, you're not going to need the Capital for the little closet, it's still a big player off the board.
That it is, and one of the good things that we're seeing here from FlipSid is the ability to hold down any kind of meeting hall drop hatches from being opened up. They're maintaining control. Looks like Eclipse is going to go for a little bit of a pop shot there onto Zilchi. However, the barbed wire is making it a little difficult. Now, still with 60 seconds left to go, King George is going to make his way down. He's got one barbed wire to deal with, and that's going to go away quite easily. So he should be able to get this plant, or actually just go and help clear out the bottom site. Hopefully going to have one of his teammates go in for the final plant. Avian, however, has pushed Pulse downwards. Looks like, no, he actually got taken out. Avian scooches on inward and will pick off Hot and Cold. A 4-on-3 now.
Only 2 players on the site, and 1 player stuck above, stranded, trapped by this Avian.
Now Avian's waiting to see if someone's going to poke around. Snake Nade, however, will pick off Zilchi. Pojo Man still coming around from the main corridor downstairs to the basement. One more gas grenade going out, but it looks like Diffuser has been planted. And so Pojo Man and Easy Peasy are the last 2 defenders alive. They're going to have to move on forward. Pojo Man jumps on top of the desk, and you've got King George there to take him out. Last man alive is going to be Easy Peasy. He's tucked around inside of the laundry cubby. You've got Avian coming up from behind, and there's going to be an easy kill with that Bearing 9.
A good sweep and clear, and a good adjustment by VG. They realized that too many of the players on FlipSid were playing in that meeting hall, and even though they eventually did push in and take them out, they, before that, shifted their attack just straight into the site and were able to get the plant off without much contention at all. So an interesting idea from FlipSid, and something, again, we've seen once before in the Pro League, but yet again, not working to their advantage. Having that double Mira in the meeting hall is just not helping them enough. They got the early pick onto Capital, but after that could not make any use of it. Now we're looking at 2-1 in favor of VG. VG seeming to come off really strong in this matchup.
Yeah, like you had said, this seems to be one of the maps that they preferred. Obviously, they picked it. But it seems like a map that does favor their playstyle, and that seems to be what's happening here.
Yeah, and FlipSid, they're trying to make those adjustments into being that aggressive team, as you could see with that defense the prior round. But it's just not working out for them, unfortunately. And while those mirrors are useful, they kind of draw a line. They limit the defenders and the roamers in a sense. And they give you information, but they also force you to play in a certain way that is predictable, and I feel like VG is working around that. They force you to play a lot more conservatively.
Yeah, now what do you see these reinforcements in Red Tower being used for? Is it just to make sure that you can keep a hold of that top attic, and we're going to have VG holding on to Meeting Hall? Well,
there's going to be roamers in, look, there's a roamer in Kitchen. There's going to be roamers, right? Meeting Hall is basically, I guess it's the ingress for the roamers to return to the site. And if you lose attic, you basically lose Meeting Hall. So the roamers are kind of, well, they're dead at that point. So, yeah, they're putting those reinforcements up there because likely they don't have very many other things to reinforce in the basement. There's just not a lot to reinforce down there. And they do not want to lose attic control just in case the roamers need to come back to the site.
All right, so we've got Eclipse here inside of that bathroom corridor. This is right outside of Kitchen, where Mint, I don't know if he saw Eclipse rotate out or if he's still thinking that Eclipse is inside of the kitchen. But no, looks like Zilchi's going to call him out here. He is being droned out, so Eclipse is going to try to push on back in, go for the pre-fire, and actually peeks around and gets Mint. A very good shot by Eclipse, and that is the intelligence of a pro player right there, ladies and gentlemen.
The game sense with that pre-fire, a wonderful job by him. King George still roaming upstairs, holding up Hot and Cold. He's going to have a difficult time challenging this.
King George is thinking better of it. He's going to tuck himself back into the stairwell. He's actually going to strafe across, and as he does, Hot and Cold is saying, "You just gave me a free target and a free kill," and that will be the death of King George.
Smokes do not cover your feet for the most part, so King George was completely exposed on that cross. Maybe not the best decision there, but you could see why he was feeling trapped.
Ooh, Pojo Man is going to take advantage of that pre-fire by Eclipse and actually get his own headshot to drop him down. A 4-on-3.
Did look like Eclipse was going to catch Pojo Man off guard, but Unfortunately, like you said, that pre-fire, man.
He took one little pop shot and gave away his position instead of following through with that pre-fire.
But there's only 3 players left on the defensive team. They do have mirrors in positions to hold all of the points of contention the attackers could come from, and they have smokes, more importantly, to deny the plant for the last minute.
And like you said, there is no Capita that's going to basically prevent this gas grenade from coming out. The only thing that could stop it is a well-timed EMP grenade, but even those are being utilized. So what we're going to have here is Snake Nate trying to hold down the site with 45 seconds to go. Adam is mainly here with a C4 ready to go once all the gas grenades fail. First one's going to come out. Pojo Man actually gets on top. You're going to have the gas grenade coming out. Pojo's going to have to backtrack. He's actually going to run forward. He's calling it out to Avian. Or, I'm sorry, to Adam. Now it looks like Adam will pick off that kill into Pojo Man. A 3-on-2, 24 second, or sorry, 3-on-3. Zilchi's still looking through the drop hatch. He's actually going to fall down through, look for the shots onto Adam, and actually take down Snake. A good shot by Hot and Cold. That's the gas grenade out. Nade's going to come on forward, hurt Adam just a little bit, but that's going to give him just a little bit of a scratch. He now still has a C4 to go forward with it. Avian's going to peek on around and actually take out Easy Peasy. He moves on forward to take out Hot and Cold. He's got the diffuser. He doesn't actually see it, and there's going to be FlipSid. Zilchi coming around to get Avian down.
Why, Avian? What happened, man?
He didn't see it. He thought he might have been, he thought at first it was on top of the dryer. Then he looked to the corner. The third spot and the final spot, which he didn't get a chance to look for, was underneath behind the dryer.
What a mistake. Oh, that's an unfortunate round for VG, going in the favor of FlipSid, although a very well-played round for FlipSid, and they did definitely earn that victory. Getting that pick onto the smoke before he can detonate his third charge, just barely managing to shave off the seconds and give them the opportunity to win that round at all.
Many of these rounds are coming down to the 1 or 2 second mark, and so taking out that smoke right at the perfect time is paramount to what just happened there.
Absolutely. Now we're going to be seeing a defense upstairs from FlipSid. Can they make this work for them this time?
We might just have to invest in a pair of glasses for Adam. We'll have to see if we can get him some gunners or something.
I thought that was Avian.
Was that Avian?
Yeah.
It was Avian. You're right. No, that's right. Adam was the mirror inside of laundry.
Yeah, that was Avian. He was thinking to himself, okay, well, the guy who had the bomb earlier, well, or the diffuser, excuse me. Sorry, we call it the bomb most of the, anyway, the diffuser died underneath the drop down, so we assumed it must have gone in that direction. Here you can see Mint statistics, 14 kills in 15 rounds, very impressive ratio, 1.5, and a 42% headshot rate, offering going for Sledge and Meta with those high DPS, high rate of fire guns. And it's a lot easier to hit those body shots with an SMG-11, for example. We are seeing a very heavy, lower level defense strat coming out from FlipSid, which is counter to what we have been seeing from Vertical Gaming on this particular take. They tend to try and take this kitchen, so FlipSid is counting on that by putting their players down here.
Yeah, and there's only 2 members up top, I want to say, Mint and Easy Peasy. And it looks like Pojo has navigated up there as well.
Oh, geez, Eclipse is getting extremely aggressive here.
Very aggressive, and this is where he was before, but Zilchi's actually take down Adam. That's going to be the Buck, which I want to say is one of the most important operators on this particular bomb site.
Absolutely.
So Zilchi already doing his job here. Hot and Cold still inside of the bathrooms. Eclipse is going to know that.
The reason Buck being gone this early is so detrimental to this attack is because he can open up the entire floor underneath the feet of the anchors on the site, as well as use his 2 grenades to kill anchors before they even know what's happening.
Yeah, but not even just the site, but also the hallway, which you typically have someone at the top of those back stairs.
Right.
The entire floor of this top floor site can pretty much be opened up.
Absolutely.
So now King George is using the cover of the smoke grenades to try to pick out Zilchi or whoever else might be in there, but Zilchi's already snuck himself back into meeting hall, and he's out of harm's way for the time being.
A good drone and a good pre-fire coming from the attackers could take care of Hot and Cold if that's what's going to happen here, and Eclipse is putting himself in that position right now.
So Avian's going to drone him out as well as King George. Now Eclipse knows he's here. He's just tucked away. Eclipse just needs to look. Where is he? Why is he taking away that angle? I want to know. He's got it perfect.
Hold the angle.
Just stay right there.
I think he can actually see his feet underneath the little... Just a pre-fire, man. Just shoot him through the wall.
Oh, Bandit's going to drop on down. That's Mint taking out Eclipse. That's the ass going down. He actually saw, it looks like Avian as well, but missed those shots onto him. King George is now away inside of the dining hall, again trying to push forward. Zilchi's now moved his way into the main lobby out of classroom. This is looking very good here for FlipSid.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of miscommunication, not getting it across that Jaeger is playing in that corner of stalls. And unfortunately, because of that, Eclipse got a little bit panicked, tried to force his way into meeting hall without any information on it, and as such got caught off guard by 2 people. And now they are at a severe man advantage with no real opportunities pushed into this site, and still plenty of roamers to deal with only 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, with 30 seconds, they are just going to have to say, we can't face off against hot and cold anymore. We need to get onto site. 20 seconds remaining, a 3-on-5. This is looking like it is in FlipSide's favor. King George, 1 bullet, even a stray bullet, will down him, possibly finish him off. Avian and Snake are going to be the 2 saving graces here. Now, a little pre-fire from Mint that's actually going to take down King George. Avian, though, getting easy peasy down. Looks like Plant's going to try to go, but Pojo Man takes out Snake. He comes around, goes for the shot, and the shotgun kill will finish off Avian, and that will be round 5 going to FlipSide.
Honestly, that was a great round from everybody on FlipSide, but you have to attribute it overall to Hot and Cold playing in those bathroom stalls. He has been detrimental to the VG attack every single round from that stall. It just seems like VG don't know how to handle him.
They don't, and so if you don't know how to handle it, there are multiple ways to push that top floor. So try a different way. If you're having that much trouble trying to get someone up, this goes back to that same Ominous and Continuum match where you had, I think it was Bacon, was playing Mira inside of the top floor on Border. And they didn't know how to handle it. So try a different route. Try to go for a different site. This is very similar to that.
Absolutely. We'll see if they make the necessary adjustments on their next upstairs attack. But first they have to make it through their upstairs defense. And I think the way that FlipSide has been attacking it is actually a little bit older than the way both of these teams opting to attack in a different way than, well, the majority of teams in general. They have been coming from kitchen. They've been coming from armory and master bedroom in the case of FlipSide. And we'll see if FlipSide is going to continue with that trend or maybe make the adjustment that we've been seeing a lot of other teams do, which is take the tower, attack the B windows. Here are Snake Nade statistics, 15 rounds, 11 kills. Pretty decent ratio there.
Now we are going to have, looks like actually all men on site, even though they've prepped the basement. So, or not the basement, I'm sorry, the kitchen beneath. So my guess is that they're going to possibly drop through the hatch inside of the kids' dorms to take a hold of kitchen eventually?
It's likely that it's just going to be their fallback position, and they want to be ready in the case that they need to use it, because if it be there is someone underneath, they're going to need to know. And I'm guessing they probably have a Valkyrie cam in position to catch that.
So a very open cam sitting inside of the garden area by, looks like by not by Zilchi, by King George. I almost want to say Canine there for a second. but no, so King George.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Muscle memory. But so the Val came out there, while it's very exposed, it's also not in a spot that is typically looked at. So it will provide some intel.
Out in the open like that, like you said, it's pretty unpredictable. The thing about Valkyrie cams is you could find a fantastic Valkyrie cam. Like there's one on Canal, for example, that we used to use back as soon as Valkyrie was introduced. You could put it on a red crane, and it worked for a long time, and then people found out about it. Now it's the most predictable cam in the world. So random Valkyrie cams are often better than nicely set up Valkyrie cams. One in the middle of the field can be more useful than one sitting on the top of a pole.
And so still half the round to go here. Looks like a little bit of push is coming from FlipSide. They're going to take more of a standard push going into Armory, pushing into Master Bedroom. You've got Pojo Man. Now, last time Pojo Man was taken out, but he looks like he will get this wall opened up now. Avian's going to be forced over to the top of those back stairs.
FlipSide made sure when they opened up that wall with thermite charge, there was no one exposed.
We've got Eclipse coming around for the flank here. The only man on between the connector roof is going to be King George. Now, what Eclipse did, instead of actually going for the kill, he just made Mint think about it, and that actually forced Mint off the window, or I'm sorry, off of the roof. He did his job there. He didn't need to get the kill. He just had to force him off of that window, and so he did so.
Yeah, no risk necessary. Still gets the job done. Fantastic play from Eclipse.
And now with 45 seconds to go, it looks like it's going to try to still be a forward push here. Zilchi on the connector window and right by the meeting hall. He's still keeping an eye behind him. He's got to be very weary. The smoke grenades are going out. The gas grenades are going to counter. Easy Peasy's going to take down King George with another trade. They're actually going to take down each other here. The Thatcher and Valkyrie go down to one apiece. Shotgun from Avian, though, takes down Hot and Cold. He's going for another one onto Zilchi. He's going to get that kill. He's got to turn right, though, look for Mint shots. He might get it, but the C4 from underneath. Snake Nade's going to get that one onto Mint, and defenders are going to win round number 6.
And it seemed like basically what happened there is the attacking team, they fell into the trap of the defenders. The defenders were all, I mean, FlipSid was only coming from one direction because that glass got forced off of the window in A. There was no crossfire to be established. There was no ground being denied by the glass. And as such, VG, they only had to think about one direction. And the C4 from underneath, that was because FlipSid had no control underneath. So there was no control from FlipSid. It's just a straight push in through the wall, through the closet, into a small bedroom, and there's not much else going on there.
Yeah, I think one of the things to highlight from that round was Eclipse's play. Like you said, it got the glass off.
Much.
It doesn't look like much, but at the same time, the way that he handled that is magnificent, because it's the little things like that, realizing that, hey, I know exactly what his reaction is going to be to anyone being in that window, so I don't need to go for the kill. My job is just to get him off of that roof, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, because if he had gone for the kill, and it didn't matter if he got the kill, that was inconsequential, because one of two things were going to happen. He was either going to, or one of three things. He's either going to get the kill, and that would be great. He was going to force him off the position, and that'd be great. Or he was going to die to the glass, and that would have been detrimental to his team. Could have cost them the round. And you can just bypass two of those options by just spraying through the window and leaving, just as he did. And that was definitely the right play to make. But now we're going to be seeing FlipSid defending the basement, and they will be having what seems like, again, a very heavy roaming setup in the meeting hall.
Yeah, a lot of the strats, or a lot of the maneuvers that you'll see players do, it's a risk and reward. And almost always the best option is to have the highest reward with the littlest, the lowest risk. The lowest risk, yes, the lowest amount of risk possible. If I can speak some English.
Yeah, it's okay, man. We all have our days. We all have our moments. Eclipse going for that pre-knife onto the corner, waiting for Hot and Cold to be waiting in the stalls, and he wasn't this time, luckily. Obviously, those stalls maybe having a little bit of PTSD dealing with that particular position coming from Hot and Cold. And it will be, again, it'll be a heavy roam strat from FlipSid. They won't have reinforced all of the walls, though, in the meeting hall, only opting to reinforce the left or right, depending on your perspective, wall in meeting hall on the east side.
Yeah, and that means I believe the second mirror window would actually go downstairs, so that Pojo Man has a line of sight, which is, again,
it's the right call.
The right call.
Yeah, definitely having that backup line of defense in case Eclipse does exactly what he's doing right now, is really going to help the team, because what they're trying to do is just bypass. But again, we saw they moved their second mirror down into the basement, and they're not going to be able to bypass the meeting hall anymore. And I think this is going to work really well for FlipSid.
Now, Avian is still all the way outside by the white van. He's going to be holding on and actually looking, but Snake Nade's going to poke on forward to get that shot on the Mint, but Zilchi with a C4 kill into King George. Avian, like you said, outside by that white van, will take down Hot and Cold as he tries to come on out of the meeting hall. Now, it looks like the plant did get down successfully by Eclipse. Zilchi's right here. Eclipse will poke up, get one, get two. He gets easy peasy and Zilchi. But Zilchi was able to take down Adam. A 3-on-1 now. Pojo Man has about 5 health. He's going to toss out his last gas grenade, and this is not going to fare well for FlipSid.
Unfortunately, a lapse on Pojo Man and whomever was playing Echo's part in that particular defense. Obviously, maybe they were not expecting VG to get down there so quickly, but the smokes did not go off to stop the plant. The Echo drone did not go off to to stop the plant. And because of that, VG was just allowed to walk into the site, plant, and win the round. There was not a lot of contention going on there.
So right now, Vertical Gaming is up by 1 round in this map. So it is map point, but it's also match series, because Vertical Gaming won the first map against FlipSid on Clubhouse.
If they can just push this last defense out, again, as you said, it will be over. And they're going to be defending basement. A site that has worked for them for the most part in the past. They lost their last basement hold because Avian unfortunately looked the wrong direction. And it was close, you know. FlipSid definitely earned that one, but it was very close. So if they can just go ahead and lock it down, batten down all the hatches on this particular defense, they will be bringing it into match point and pushing themselves into first seed. Again, whomever does lose this particular series will have another chance. They will be playing against Most Wanted next week, I believe.
Yep.
So this is not the end for either of these teams, no matter what. But it would be awfully convenient for Vertical Gaming to lock this out right now and get their 2-0.
Yeah, definitely being guaranteed to get into the playoffs rather than having to fight again and potentially getting kicked out is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Obviously. But here we are. We're going to have, again, this top floor attic, the back wall being reinforced. Bandit's going to place down some charges. What we are seeing come out here by Easy Peasy is going to be an IQ, which is the second time this entire Pro League we've seen IQ.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that, well, not, I guess, the second match that we've seen IQ, maybe actually it might be the third. Whatever the case be, they're bringing an IQ instead of a Capital. And on a basement attack, if you're going for a lobby, I'm not sure that's the right decision because you need that Capital bolt to neutralize that Mira. Without it, it's just so detrimental to your take. We'll see if it works out for them, though. Hot and Cold getting a nice early pick onto King George. That's going to work very much in their advantage. Last time when he was on this roam, he did a lot of work for his team.
That's the same thing that happened last time as well. Hot and Cold was on that window. King George got smoked out. He tried strafing across. He got picked off. Looks like almost the exact same thing happened.
Yeah, and last time, I mean, he wasted about 50 more seconds last time, though. I mean,
yeah.
This time, I don't know.
This time it seemed to be a little bit of a panic run.
Well, both times it was kind of a panic run. It's interesting what he's trying to do there. Wonder if he's gonna, if we go to overtime, if he's gonna make up for that.
So here we have it now, just over half the round still remaining. Hot and Cold still clearing out the top as Easy Peasy appears to be working his way down. I'm sorry, he's droning out as well. Eclipse is inside of the meeting hall, trying to pre-fire the hallway, or pre-fire the door to garage. He gets droned out. Some more fires going his way. Zilchi still tucked around in the garage. He got the hatch opened up. He got a little bit of the wall opened up as well. So we'll have to see how this all is going to play out. Hot and Cold still here inside of the armory corridor. He's looking in towards the attic. He's got his drone in position. Now what he should do, in my eyes, is actually open up that wall, get in top of attic, and hopefully force VG to scatter a little bit, possibly drop through the hatch back onto site.
So what's happening here is FlipSid, they're trying to actively challenge the roamers. They're not just pushing to the site, which is what VG has been doing historically. Whenever there's the heavy roaming presence, VG they just push straight on down. And it's wasting a lot of time, only 50 seconds to go, and Snake Nade still has all 3 of his smoke grenades. He's going to be able to deny this plant hole all by himself.
Now it will come down to where is Pojo going to go. If the first gas grenade goes to the right side, actually goes to the left, that's going to hold it off. So now what Snake is saying, he's got total control.
Yeah, he can use his last 2 smoke grenades to waste all of these 30 seconds. There's nothing that FlipSid can really do to stop this. They're going to have to get very lucky.
Now Adam has been injured off. There's going to be one last gas grenade inside of smoke, but he actually got injured here. He's got to get picked up by Avon. Plant will go down by Pojo Man. This could actually be tremendously useful here. It will go down, and it looks as though Pojo Man will escape with his life. We have 5 attackers still alive. There's only 3 defenders. This is actually going to go to FlipSid unless something tremendously goes wrong. Snake, 50 health left on the board, 0 utilities left to go. He's got the SMG-11 in hand with 17 bullets in a mag. What will happen here? Zilchi not even needing to go for this aggressive peek. He's waiting. He's going to peek up here momentarily, and there goes the kill right on the Snake after he gets Pojo down. And now we're going into the 11th round. I'm sorry, into overtime, not 11th.
Some incredibly tight and well-timed play and good teamwork from FlipSid lets them lock out that round. That all came down to the last 20 seconds where 2 of the players on FlipSid were waiting for that smoke to peek out, and they just perfectly managed to kill him before he detonated his 3rd smoke grenade. If he had detonated that 3rd smoke grenade, it would have gone to VG.
Yep.
Now overtime on the 2nd map. Oh boy. It's going to go to Dorms Hall first for VG, a site that has somewhat been working for them.
What I'm not seeing happen too much, and maybe that's because the defenders are weary of a Thatcher, is pre-placing a smoke grenade right behind the dryer.
Yeah, it's weird that teams don't do that anymore, isn't it?
They used to, like, originally they didn't, then they started to,
and
now they're
stopped.
off of it again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe they're just trying to avoid Thatcher grenades. Who knows? But now we're going to be seeing another defense upstairs from VG. Now, FlipSid, they have been struggling with this attack. They've been trying to go for the Armory Master take, and it's just not been working out for them. Are they going to be able to make the necessary adjustments to put this to their advantage, or are they going to try the same thing over again? If they try the same thing over again, Are they going to be able to execute better? Are they going to take control of downstairs to deny that C4 from underneath? Are they going to keep a player on the A window no matter what to keep that crossfire established so that they can pincer the defensive operators? We'll find out. They are going to be going, looks like, for another armory take. And that's really a very brave decision. They have to execute this perfectly to get the win against VG, who seemingly has a number, or seemingly they understand this particular attack because they've done it so many times before.
Yeah, and so you had a little bit of distraction there as you saw Mint open up that window inside of Armory and then go all the way up to the roof. He's going to navigate elsewhere. Now, Hot and Cold was still looking to get inside of Master Bedroom, which it looks like he did successfully. Easy peasy trying to get rid of any of the bandit charges or mute jammers, whatever he may have seen, but neither are there, possibly getting rid of a Valk Cam. Well, to see, but again, this seems to be a very similar push. However, Hot and Cold is going to peek around King George. All he has to do is just look around the matches. He will see Hot and Cold, but he's just playing it safe, which honestly could be the right call.
Yeah.
King George now knowing that someone is going to be right there. He will possibly peek out momentarily. Hot and Cold is going to drone that out after he's got rid of the barbed wire. Now this is where he will spot King George. He knows he's in the back of Armory. Hot and Cold now, is he going to actually care about it? I think he got rid of the barbed wire. All he has to do is basically just run into middle dorms, clear that out, possibly look onto the side, but he's got to be very cautious.
FlipSid not taking any unnecessary risks, going very slow in this take. No kills on the board for either of these teams yet, and only 1 minute 20 left in the clock. VG knows they don't need to peek, and FlipSid knows that their timing needs to be impeccable on this push.
Now Pojo's actually inside with a plan, a 5-on-5, and this plan is still going down. Looks like Hot and Cold's going to be a distraction and take on Adam. Easy peasy will take down Eclipse into return as Adam gets another kill into Pojo, man. But the plant does go down, and the defense here is starting to scramble. But instead, Snake's actually going to start the plant very early on, and actually a kill from outside. Mint's going to get Snake down. He's just going to tuck himself right around there, tosses one nade in, and actually down Avian. There's only one defender left alive, and that's going to be Adam. He's here inside of the ace site. He's going to push on out. Zilchi's there to get the kill. And a fabulous hold here by FlipSid after the diffuser gets planted.
That was all on Mint with being on that window. Right place, right time, manages to deny the plant. The other two attackers were in no position to stop that defuse of the diffuser. But the defense, though, that's what's more important. I mean, like, how are you not holding that small kids room? I mean, what happened? Where was your smoke? What was he doing? He was at the top of White Stairs, and he did not apply any pressure after the closet wall had been opened. Full 5-man up on both teams, and the plant goes down. I
mean, FlipSid is one of those teams that I consider to be a team that can pull that off. They did it season 3. Oh, yeah. They've done it in season 3. They've shown they can do it on console and other maps. I'm sure that they've done it more times than I can count. But it's, to me, one of the things that makes them shine out to me. The fact that they can do what they did.
Well, for me, it's the fact Vertical Gaming neglecting to hold that when they know exactly what FlipSid's doing. I mean, it's the same exact attack FlipSid's been using on that upstairs take, and it hasn't worked for them so far. And in this case, Vertical Gaming, they just overlooked. I guess it was so commonplace that they maybe they weren't thinking about it. I'm not sure what happened. A little bit of a lapse of judgment on Vertical Gaming, and it seems like a lot of the times when they're losing these rounds, does come down to a very minor mistake, something like neglecting to check for a diffuser plant.
That doesn't seem like a minor mistake.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. It's such a small thing, really.
Yes.
Not peeking around a corner.
Correct. It can be an overlooked item.
Right. But it is major in the grand scheme of things. Now we're looking at map point in favor of FlipSid. Vertical Gaming, they have to win this upstairs attack, and it's not been working for them either. They've been trying to go through the kitchen, and they've been struggling with Hot and Cold playing in those stalls. And yet again, Hot and Cold on the stalls. Will they be able to handle this position, or are they going to struggle with it again?
Honestly, if I was VG, I'd say let's go for the same kind of push that FlipSid did. Don't worry about Hot and Cold. Carry it, worry about taking out the roamers, or at least covering your rear so that you don't get flanked. But you've only got one operator that has C4, and that's Zilchi.
if I were VG in this situation, I would just try to open up the kitchen wall as I've been doing, force the Valkyrie out as I've been doing, force her out of kitchen, and then as soon as I forced her out of kitchen, I would shoot the Jaeger through the wall. They've had numerous opportunities to do just that. They've had the players droning to establish that Hot and Cold is playing in that. They know where he is, the exact corner. They have a player in kitchen. They just haven't taken the leap to shooting through that wall. So maybe they'll do it this time.
Now, that was actually a really nice angle that Hot and Cold had. As you said, that wall that they can pre-fire through, Hot was actually looking out through that, through the Hibana hole that was made.
Yeah, he's trying to challenge it actively. We'll see who wins this engagement. They should be conscious of the fact that he's on it.
Ooh, and Snake saw it with a pre-fire with the SMG-11, and unfortunately, it just didn't hit.
And because of that, Hot and Cold's going to reposition and waste even more time for the attacking team here. 1 minute on the clock, not a single death. Again, this is so similar to the previous round, but again, it's now VG's attack instead of FlipSide's attack.
It seems like they're so focused here on Hot and Cold that they're missing their time management. You've got Eclipse in the back fighting Mint. He finally gets it, but he still has Zilchi here on the other side of the wall. Goes for the pre-fire, misses the shots, and now Zilchi able to still drone out or waste more time from Eclipse. Waits for it, goes for the shots, and Hot and Cold will get another. I'm sorry, Eclipse will take down Zilchi. Hot and Cold finally gets taken out with 30 seconds left, a 5-on-2. This is still going to be in favor of FlipSide. King George has been injured on the stairs, but underneath, Snake did able to get Pojo. Last man alive is going to be easy peasy. They have to go for the rush here. Diffuser's in the hands of Avian, and that looks like it's going to be pushing from the back stairwell, not where Eclipse and Snake are moving in from.
Only 17 seconds left, but the diffuser is not in position to be stopped by Easy Peasy.
And there it comes, Eclipse with a 3K this round, taking out Mint, Zilchi, and Easy Peasy to win the round for his team here. And now we are going to round 11.
Eclipse picking apart those roamers in the meeting hall was incredibly instrumental to winning that attack. If he hadn't distracted the Valkyrie, Hot and Cold might have been able to stay alive in stalls, and yet again, the same exact thing would have happened in that they lost that particular attack. Now we're on map point, series point, and then just map point.
Yeah,
So
this is basically
who wins this.
round number 11. Winner either forces us into the third map or winner takes all.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that this is the second time we've come to round number 11 out of 2 maps. Both of these teams neck and neck. Every round is a nail-biter with these guys.
And this is reminding me of the map, the Season 3 semifinals between Playing Ducks and Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where it went 32 out of 33 rounds possible.
And you can see here a lot of the players on both of these teams contributing a whole heck of a lot to winning all of these rounds. A couple players struggling a little bit, but everyone has bad games. And overall, just a very, very even matchup. Now we are going to be seeing, again, an upstairs defense from VG. Now you have to imagine, they're not going to just let Thermite walk into small bedroom.
Nope, they're not.
plant
They're going to have
together.
this mirror and say, you know what? I will spot you and I will raise you a kill.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So, FlipSide have to make their armory attack work in the strategic sense instead of the, oh, I caught you off guard sense.
Now that is a very good mirror, one that typically isn't used too much.
I think it's going to help them out a lot.
I think it will too. It will allow King George to not necessarily have just blind sight. He now has a window to be able to see what's happening. He actually gets spotted out here by Hot and Cold. King George, though, picking up the first kill of the round. That's Mint going down.
He got him on the roof. Now, that's a very challenging win, or even a nice shot coming out from Mint. That's a very challenging angle to win, and King George really proving his worth there with that kill.
Now, Hot and Cold does have a good angle facing all the way down into Attic, but King George, right now, he doesn't need to be aggressive. He's just going to sit right here, waste some time. He's been droned out. He now knows that they know I'm here. So again, what we're going to see from FlipSide is, again, that the same kind of push we've seen previously, trying to open up that closet wall. But what we're not seeing is armory. We're not seeing anyone really underneath trying to.
Like they're. Oh wow! Another kill from King George onto Hot and Cold on the roof. Again, an extremely difficult angle for you to win, especially with a holographic.
Now Zilchi's coming around here. He's about to peek around. King George actually destroys the shield. He could get another one. C4 gets tossed out. He goes for the kill, but he misses. And it does a monstrous amount of damage to Zilchi, but not enough to get the kill. King George is going to drop, move on, rotate over to the red stairs, or to the red tower. He does not see Zilchi.
FlipSid now backed into a corner, 3 versus 5, 1 minute on the clock, almost no options. All the lanes are still reinforced, and Zilchi is lit as a Blackbeard. That means he can be shot in the torso or foot once or twice, and he'll go down. His shield is almost meaningless.
Now, because of the lack of time, I don't think that they're going to have the opportunity to pick Zilchi up. So Zilchi will stay as is. Actually, no, he might fall off the roof here. We'll see if he...
I don't think they're going to go for that.
Nope, he will not. Nope, he's going to play it safe, try to move on forward and just survive with his head shield. Valkyrie, that's King George, is still inside of the red tower.
Avian and Pojo Man having a staring contest, even if they don't know it.
And there's the gas grenade. Avian, I think he's got to hear Thermite. He's got to hear Pojo here.
He's going to use all of his gas grenades to deny this straight up. He has only 25 seconds left on the
And
clock.
there comes the push. He actually doesn't see him. The shotgun from Avian will take him down, and it will be Vertical Gaming after just a monstrous obliteration right there in that final round. Vertical Gaming will take home this win, take home the series, and they will be placed first in Group B brackets.
And FlipSid does, again,